a sunrise there.
No, it is not, I promise. I'm not a drinker, so. Not that I couldn't be very easily.
Okay, I will call the meeting to order for the Lincoln County Board of County Commissioners for August 19th, 2019. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, I will start off with a piece of correspondence and a question. Maybe you have it here, Dawn. I talked to Schwab Eaton, who was supposed to have the report. Did you get that? It's in here.
There is a information in there, in the envelope.
Oh, here it is. Okay. That was for the landslide issue at the lake. So they only sent an agreement. Looks like they sent, here are your copies, one for each of you. This is Schwab Eaton, who we asked, okay. Here's the proposal, the location, existing improvements. We understand an existing gravel surface roadway is present based on available topographic information and historical aerial photographs. It appears the roadway has been present since at least the early 1990s. We anticipate the road was constructed by cutting the east uphill portion of the right-of-way and filling the west downhill portion. Scope of services, site reconnaissance, subsurface exploration, laboratory testing, slope stability analysis, and geotechnical report. So basically they went out and looked at the site, and they're saying their estimated fees for phase 1, 2, and 3, 2 to 3,000, up to 5,000, and up to 5,000. So 13,000 total for the engineering firm to do the analysis and give the recommendations for a plan. So they sent an agreement if we'd like to pursue that. I was under the understanding that we were asking them, that we didn't have to bid it out, so we were asking them to perform that function. Am I mistaken? They're basically replying to us as if we requested a bid. So do we want to pursue that, sign the agreement, or how do we want to go about that?
What were you requesting, you know, what?
We had told our county attorney to approach Schwab Eaton to go and get an analysis done of the project so that then we could turn that out for bid, the actual repair work. Because it was going to be, that's not professional services, in my opinion, it's construction work. I mean, I'm not sure how that works according to the statute. We don't have to bid out professional services, which would be the engineering firm, but I do believe we have to bid out the construction services, which over a certain dollar amount, which this definitely would be. I was under the understanding that we were just appointing them to give us an analysis, but instead of giving us an analysis, they basically gave a project overview and said, if you'd like us to do the analysis, it's going to be up to $13,000. And in addition to that, Terracon is a firm that they would sub to do soil investigation, making recommendations to them based on what they find in the soil under the...
Do we have to do a bid? To have the construction done?
The construction part, yes.
But that's what they're offering now too, the construction part?
No, they went out to the site, they looked at the site, they said, well, if you want us to give you a complete analysis, it's gonna be up to $13,000 plus...
Just for the analysis?
Right. The total project not to exceed $17,800. That's for the engineering part of the project, which would give the specific instructions to be bid out to the construction
well, then
companies.
They're kind of doing what we asked them. They're doing the analysis for what we were doing here.
I thought they were just going to do the analysis and bill us, but
well,
they're basically...
I think you asked Michael to contact them to get a bid as to what it would cost to do the analysis is what I thought. But I'll look back in the minutes, but
maybe I'm
like
crossing
that very
two things.
first week.
well, we're being a little confusing here whether we...
Well, because then you instructed Jennifer to do something different.
But that was with you're right, that was with the plan for the roads. And I crossed that, you're right.
And they're probably giving you the price so that you're not caught off guard.
Up front, right?
Yeah,
of the analysis,
of what it will cost to do.
to do an analysis, and then we'll have to determine to hire contractors, right? If we
That part would be bid out.
First of
My
all-
understanding of the statute is that has to be bid out.
Have we, if we're already going down the road then that we're doing analysis and we're gonna do a contractor to do this, so we're assuming it's our duty to fix this road then, is that what we're saying? I wasn't sure we even determined that yet, you know?
Well, part of this letter says, during my site visit with Michael O'Hare for this project, he expressed discontent in his position and mentioned he was looking for another job. As part of a full disclosure, so Lincoln County doesn't think we are trying to hide anything, we have hired Michael. He is set to begin work with us on August 19th. So that would be today. Yeah, it just goes on to say we understand if this creates a conflict of interest type of thing.
So should we even deal with them since Michael's gonna be working for them? Or does that,
I mean, I
or
don't
does
think
that matter?
that changed.
That
From what I
shouldn't
understand,
matter,
they couldn't
should it?
even handle this in Beloit. They had to send it to Manhattan, to their branch in Manhattan. That's my understanding of it. So they didn't even handle it in-house. It had to be sent elsewhere. Because the person who contacted me was from Manhattan. When I started calling because I was concerned why we weren't receiving anything. So
I was still thinking that we were not sure it was a responsibility of the county to actually do this work, whether have we legally accepted that road is ours and we have to fix it?
I don't think we have.
If-
That's the thing.
and that's
we want
okay.
Jennifer to get is that map so we can decide what, if any, or how much of those roads that really belong to the county.
And how much is our responsibility and how much isn't? Was it minimum maintenance or not? All that, you know, I'm not against doing this, I'm just saying, are we down the road that far to pursue this, you know?
I don't think we've ever made the
it
decision.
was my understanding that when we came out of the executive session with our attorney, we were going to pursue two things. This portion of analysis with the landslide, as well as the remapping, so that it's accurate and up to date.
But the remapping is to be designed so that we can overlay that with the original plat to decide which of those roads actually belongs to the county and which doesn't, and we don't know whether that really belongs or not.
They do mention that in here. It says there will be a fair amount of effort required to establish property lines and road right-of-way from information that can be tracked down. We have done a survey in the area previously on the Russell County side of the development, which will help keep the costs down.
Yeah.
So they're assuming that that's going to be part of, and I don't know if it's the whole thing or just that particular road, maybe just that road. But that would be part of this landslide issue versus including all the little tributaries on a new map to make sure that it's accurate on our printed maps.
But I think we need to do that before we do much else. We gotta figure out what's ours before we start fixing things.
And what our responsibility is it minimum maintenance? Cause we have kinda had it down there
I think
unofficially.
the commissioners can deem whether something is minimum maintenance or not.
Okay.
We have that right.
Well, that's-
We reserve that right to say this is going to be minimum
And that's
maintenance.
where we're at right now, right?
Well, we gotta decide if that's our road first.
I believe we decided that.
Well,
Which,
we maybe discussed it, but I don't think we formally, made a motion to do that. And I'm not against doing it either, it's just,
Well, I think we have prior paperwork here in the courthouse that has established that the commissions prior had acknowledged that exists as part of our roads.
we did back in 1992,
But
remember
whether
that?
the roads are the same is what's in question, whether they're the same, in the same location.
And if they've
on that flag.
changed, and, because it's not been controlled out there, not like our normal
But
roads
we
are controlled.
got a map, we have the map that shows the additions that weren't included, and the additions are not what we're talking about. It's that little loop at the top,
Got 1.8
and
miles
there's
or
one
something.
little, and like an ending that has been extended, that wasn't on the original map.
Yeah,
So-
there's that Wilson's Lake Estate loop up at the top,
Mhm.
but then there's the one where the landslide is that's the issue.
But that wasn't an addition.
No, but we gotta determine if we're gonna maintain that or not, right? And minimum maintenance or major maintenance? And if we fix this landslide, do we need to put culverts in there? Do we need to grade that on a schedule once a month? You know, all that stuff. Or is it gonna
Well,
be,
again, part of the issue is where that road comes down the hill, the culvert had all silted in and been plugged, so the water was running over the road.
Yeah,
We were maintaining the issue that created the landslide. We were improperly maintaining it. So, I mean,
we need,
I don't think it's worth trying to have a lawsuit presented and us defend ourselves by silting in our own culvert. I mean, I'm sure we put that culvert in.
Well, but I don't mind that, and basically I agree that we probably ought to do a lot of maintenance out there. I just wanna know which roads are ours, which have deviated from the original plat, which the homeowners have changed and all that stuff, and I don't think we can do that until we get somebody to go out there and survey it.
So then
We're
we have a question for the county attorney.
yeah, make a
Because-
determination.
We sent her, we made a motion to do that very thing, and she hadn't done that.
Yes, so.
We need to make a determination, what's our, if it is our responsibility, okay. How much, like Jim said, the plat, how big an area is ours and because there's little roads running all over out there. How much is ours? Do we go fast to do part of the driveway for one tenant out there and not the other? I mean, you know, you got people that's made their own roads out there and now we're inheriting, taking care of them.
You've encroached on our roads on the right of way, is that our responsibility or not? There's a lot of things we need to know.
Yeah, and we need
That's
to,
why we want that as-built drawing from Jennifer.
yeah.
As a result of that letter, so we can compare
And what's our
what we got and
responsibility?
what we should have.
And then how much responsibility, are we gonna make it minimum maintenance, or, are we gonna do it full maintenance?
I'm not against fixing the roads.
I'm not either, I'm not
We
either.
just need to know what's ours. and
Right,
what
we
isn't.
need
May
to,
I send, do I
Okay.
have the permission of the board to send the county attorney an email requesting that she update us in this process?
Exactly right.
I think that's what the letter she gave you last week was. Okay, so,
That was not
Let-
regarding this though. I mean, what I did this morning is exactly based on what she had said last week, which
Okay.
was wrong.
okay, let's go back. So
Okay.
on 7/8, you guys approved O'Hare to contact Schwab Eaton to complete a plan to repair properly the area of the road that has slid.
Yes.
So
That's what
that
I
is what
thought.
that is there.
Yes.
So they're giving you a price
They're- right.
to develop a
Yeah.
plan.
Well, it's as if
Okay.
they bid it out instead of just doing the plan, but that's fine. I understand why.
Well, they probably want you to know how much it's gonna cost. Then I have that you moved to direct the highway department to immediately barricade the road that was slid within the Wilson Lake Estates.
Safety
And then I
issue.
have that you moved to have the county attorney go out for bids to provide us with an as-built survey of the roads of the Lincoln County part of Wilson Lake Estates.
Exactly.
So nowhere
we don't
have we
have.
taken ownership yet of the
That's right.
roads.
Till we get that, and compare that with the original plat and all the other documentation, we don't know what's ours and what isn't.
Okay.
So may I just send her an email requesting that she respond to
Yes,
that?
I think
Because
that's
what she
appropriate.
responded to was not this issue.
Exactly.
well, maybe we weren't clear about what we wanted her to
She
respond
just read the
to.
motion though,
Yeah.
and maybe I should have sent the email with that motion in it.
Let's ask her about the.
What's our responsibility, and like you say, the plat, as
Well, I
built.
believe she already told us what our responsibility is in an executive session. And that-
Yeah, and we can accept that, except
Yeah.
we just have to know what we're gonna fix and what we're not.
Okay.
What's ours and what isn't.
Yeah, that's right,
Okay,
I
so-
agree too, Jim.
We have to come back to that, so
Yeah.
I'll just move forward. We
Okay.
have, Lincoln Park Manor, a call cord, I guess for inside of a room from Alliance Monitoring Technologies. I don't have an issue with that, anybody
No.
does? Bill to Lincoln County Clerk labor expense for $979 for Lincoln Park Manor, for the passenger elevator.
Yeah, we gotta be good at that.
Okay,
For
and then
services.
street plumbing for Lincoln Park Manor, flush valve O-ring, and an hour of labor. Any issues there?
No.
And then this is my budget. And the minutes. And what else do we have here?
I have a bridge question when we get to it sometime.
Okay, the culvert replacement, this is dated August 5th. From East Elkhorn Creek. The chief engineer has approved the plans and issued an enclosed permit.
That's a
Okay, so we need to.
bridge
sign
we
it.
approved last week,
Well,
ain't it?
No,
this
Oh.
is a
I'm assuming that
4 to 5 foot diameter corrugated metal pipe culvert in and across Elkhorn Creek. Where is?
No, come down. Southeast,
So some of those projects, depending on how big they are, require you to get permits. So he obviously requested a permit, so that you'll need to give to whoever your new supervisor is.
Okay. So, this is called notice and proof of completion. Well, that's what's requesting the signature, I guess.
Who's that
So,
from?
so we do now have the permit. This is the Division of Water Resources, Kansas Department of Agriculture, signed by Gene Dara. And I, the undersigned, being the holder of a permit to construct pursuant to KSA 82A 301, for culvert replacement on East Elkhorn Creek at location from Lincoln County, Kansas, hereby certify that the work identified above has been completed. So we need to verify that before we can actually. So the permit is active then.
So they
Who's that
send
with?
you the active permit when you get done with the project, and you have to send in and say that it's completed.
Right. Okay.
You just need to go
So
out and
if
see
you
what's done.
paperclip all that together.
Whose route is that? Because I think that's. Thank you.
Who's Ralph?
It'll be for your supervisor when you get a supervisor.
Right, but we don't even know if this project has been started. So,
No.
whoever's route that would know. Okay. I have tax abatements. One. Roger and Eric Leland Nitch. And it is a sold pickup in the amount, this would be number 2018-24, in the amount of $131.20. I would entertain a motion to approve this tax abatement.
I'll make a motion to approve that tax abatement for
Roger Nitch.
Roger Nitch of how much?
$131.20.
$131.20.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve this tax abatement. Any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. I will sign it. Motion carried. What is today? 8/19/19. Goes to Dawn. And minutes. All the bills for Lincoln Park Manor were signed.
You did second that tax.
Yes.
abatement. So
I did. For Roger, I do that.
I got to clean my errors out.
While we're checking minutes, can I ask a bridge question? The bridge out here by the swimming pool, I understand the land on each side is city, but the bridge is county, is that right?
I believe there was some sort of agreement where the county took that on. Is that correct, Dawn?
Not that I'm aware of.
No?
I don't-
I thought I was told that, but is it our road at all from there, or is that all in city limits? All the way to 18?
I can't answer that.
I think it's all city. I was talking to guys out there working, and that's what they told me, but that bridge probably ought to get fixed one of these days.
Someone told me that there was an agreement that the county, I don't know if they took ownership or maintained it. Is that 110?
We probably ought to ask somebody on the bridge crew.
Oil roads, that sounds right, 110. Right over.
Is that the one right at the park here?
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
on, going on
Right
Lincoln.
by the old
Main Street.
water house, swimming pool, cemetery, all that.
Oh, right
Yeah,
there.
it's a creek there.
Well, I wouldn't be against it, except as a jurisdiction of the city or the county, that's the
Well,
issue here.
yeah, I was told by the guys down there working on the road that the land on each side was city, but the bridge itself was county.
Well, would the city know, like RT or
I'm
somebody?
sure, yeah, I'm
We should
sure.
maybe consult with him,
Yeah, call
if
Jesse or
he,
somebody.
yeah, or Jesse Meyer.
Well, this is your district, would you mind following up on that?
Yeah, I can do that. I'll ask them, yeah, what's the position on that? Is that city or county? I'm sure they've run into this before.
Okay, we're about 5 minutes behind. Does anyone have any corrections for the minutes?
No, I, move that we appoint both sets of minutes, or approve both sets of minutes, I've read them both. One for the 12th and one for the 14th of August.
I'll second.
I would like to add something to the August 14th minutes. Part of my report about the emergency management truck is that it had not been maintained. There was over 10,000 miles between oil changes. I think I said that because basically there had been oil being put into it regularly and it wasn't reported to us that there was a breakdown. So if that's going to go in the minutes, I would like it to be fully disclosed. Otherwise, this kind of makes it look like we knew. The vehicle had been sitting down there for 3 weeks and we were never told. I actually thought that the person who drives that was parked down there for a particular reason. So when I started asking why, then I found out that the truck had been basically deemed out of commission.
Where would you like it?
Well, I don't know. Somebody said that it'd gone 10,000 miles or whatever, but I don't know that we could verify that.
That's fine,
supposition.
that's fine. I would put,
Everything, so
huh?
I couldn't remember
I know.
everything that you had said.
I know.
so-
I know. So it either needs to all go in there or all come out, is my point, because we were not made aware of this. We just found out that we had a vehicle that was out of commission for 3 weeks and basically had been run clean out of oil. So that either needs to be said or nothing said about it. That's,
Well, I wouldn't say anything about it because you can't verify it.
And you don't know it's run clean.
What you have in here is verifiable. That's the fact.
We don't know it's
well,
completely
it's not
run.
verifiable because it's just my personal conversation with
Yeah.
someone who said they're willing to haul it to the auction. So that doesn't mean, I think maybe if we approve to haul it to the auction, then we can put that in there. But nothing was approved, so let's just strike it.
Everything?
Yes, if it's not going to be added that it was ran out of oil and basically done harm by the operator, then I don't want any of it in there, because that's what happened, according to what I spoke to the,
I thought you just said that it hadn't had the oil changed. I didn't know.
well,
Clear
not
out the
changing
oil.
the oil and running it down on oil is what creates an overheating of the engine, and when you have excessive overheating, then you start doing things like scoring the cylinders and blowing the
But
gas.
what we
pipe
have in the
gasket.
minutes now is accurate. You talk to SS, you talk to Spear, everything you have in there is accurate, verifiable.
How are you verifying that it's using an excessive amount of oil? How are we verifying any of that? Because what I'm continuing to say is not only was it using oil, it wasn't maintained, causing an engine problem. That's on the operator. So if we're not gonna put that in there while we're dealing with all of this resignation, etc., then let's not put any of it.
I agree to that.
Okay, so strike it all, please, Dawn.
So I'm striking to where you reported on the Saline County Commission?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
That was my main concern as to what was gonna be reflected.
And I heard that as a motion to amend, and I'll second your motion to amend.
Call for a vote on the motion to amend. Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Back to the original motion for approval. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor vote aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay. I believe we can hold off. We have some additional things to discuss, but that wouldn't necessarily be correspondence, so we'll just hold off on that. And Ladonna, if you're ready, thank you for waiting.
I'm here this morning not to talk about the emergency manager, but about the position. There are a few things that need to take place, and I just wanted to report on that and offer some. I know you guys haven't had a chance to talk about it, but last Monday, David asked to formally make a motion for Dustin Florence for law enforcement and Derek Walters EMS to the LEPC committee, which is our emergency planning committee. I'm the secretary of the LEPC and have to turn in reports in October, so I'm not saying you need to make that motion today, but that does need to take place.
Let's put Dustin on.
Dustin for law enforcement and Derek Walters for EMS.
What he said is designee, so do we have a designee?
Say that again, please.
No, but he can proxy. They need to be appointed as individuals, and then they can send a proxy and send somebody in their place. But we have to send that report into KDM, and they.
It was my understanding from the report that we were given that they agreed. Is
We
that?
agreed, but you appoint.
No, I was saying the individuals. They
Yes,
agreed to.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I move to approve the appointment of EMS Director Derek Walter and Undersheriff Dustin Florence to the LEPC committee.
Second that.
Any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Okay. And then David sits on the Regional Homeland Security. He is a representative for Lincoln County. There are representatives that are from jurisdictions like the Highway Department Association, the Law Enforcement Association, but each county also has a seat at the table, and David was Lincoln County's representative to the Regional Homeland Security. So that's the Regional Planning Commission does all the paperwork for that. So a new appointment and a letter has to be made, either that you're looking for someone and that he is no longer your representative, or you won't have a vote, I guess is my. They meet, I think, every other month. I was a representative for years, and then Russ Black was a representative for a while. There's been different people. It's law enforcement, EMS, hospital, health department. There's all different commissioners. I mean, there's all different people, city managers that are appointed to that board. It's just whoever you want to represent Lincoln County. But I know in their bylaws it says if somebody doesn't attend and is not notified that a proxy is sent, that it's an unexcused absence. I don't remember the bylaws, what happens, but at the least you probably should send a letter that,
Who are we sending this to?
I believe that
The chair of
Marie
that
Ballou from Ottawa County, I don't know how to spell her name, is the chair of that committee.
Is she the emergency manager there?
At Ottawa County, yes.
I just spoke with her and I actually asked her if she had any other duties outside of emergency manager for Ottawa County, and she said yes, she's actually in charge of all the 911 signs for the whole county, which is something that we've had complaints about here not getting done. So I found that very interesting. It was great to hear that she has additional responsibilities.
But I think she is the chair, I'm not entirely sure.
I will contact her again.
And I don't know when they meet again, but I think some kind of letter, and then you guys need to look for someone else to appoint. They have grant monies that are spent. I know 800 radios and some of the trailers that we have come from Homeland Security, so I would hate to see that, us not have a vote on that board, but
Sure.
I'm not volunteering.
Has David
I was
resigned
on it
from
for
that
years, so
board? Has David resigned from that board?
It's an
or is he
appointment for the-
automatically suspended?
he's an appointment of the commissioner. Maybe you want to leave him on that board. It's appointment of the commission, so just making you aware of that.
If he's no longer working for us, he should not represent us.
Well, I agree, but technically still on the board until we take some action, is that not correct?
Correct.
So I recommend we do send a letter to the regional director noting that he has been terminated or no longer is employed in emergency management, and we are contemplating appointing another board member.
Okay. I will look her up right now. I just spoke with her last week, so.
And I can't swear that she's the chair, but I do believe she is the
How
chair.
about Doug, is he involved with that?
We can put in the near future on there to put some time.
I think David has been the representative since he's been employed. Before that was Rod, and before that was me, and somewhere in there, Russ and Michael also represented their organizations, not Lincoln County.
So we had 2 representatives
We
at
had
one time?
3 at one time, but they were
In the past, but now we
Yes.
don't. We
Now
just
we
have
have
one,
just
and
have
it's
one.
from the county. Gotcha.
right.
Which I do believe I think I spoke to one of the commissioners. He's the only commissioner on that board right now. Everyone else is some other kind of position that
Right.
she's describing.
Right.
Um,
So, I am going to go to the mitigation plan meeting on Thursday in Minneapolis. The last time the mitigation plan was updated was 5 years ago when we had no emergency manager, and I went at that time, so I know a little bit about it. So I'm going to try to stay up to date with that because I kind of know a little bit about it.
Thank you.
Public health is just a teeny tiny part of emergency preparedness, so I'm not volunteering in any way that I know emergency management because I do not. I do know that there are several grants out there and things, and I would volunteer to open email and regular mail and perhaps messages on the phone, answer some of that, just because I know the contact people. And maybe I could, I know there's several grants out there, and I'd hate for them to get missed because nobody read the email.
Speaking of that, I think we are over budget in emergency management department because we have not received the grant that was due to us
And
from last year.
I believe it's coming.
Maybe, I'm just saying,
I don't
maybe
know.
that would be the first thing you can follow up on if you would.
I can,
That's probably
but
very
somebody's gonna
important.
have to watch those emails, so, and I don't think that it should be dumped on Dawn to do that.
Well, I
So,
appreciate you stepping up.
That and mail and I'll talk,
Do you have access to the
about the
emergency
phone.
management email currently?
no, but I'll make sure that happens before Friday,
Okay.
so.
And I had actually talked to Dawn, and I didn't inform either of you because I just asked her, but I thought it might be a good idea to get the commission an email that we use in open session. We open it here because I have had department head requests that then one of us has to bring it to the table and then we make a motion and it gets lost somewhere in translation. If we had an email through the website like the other departments do, we can open it here, and this would pertain to this as well. You can come to us or send us something as emergency management or health department. We open it, we make the motion, approve it, and I can just send back an approved message, then they get that the same day. The paperwork can come later, but the stall between weeks of meeting on a Monday or Thursday and then having that back and forth communication.
And also you brought up before, which was a good idea to me, is that when we make actions here on something, we should maybe email all the department heads.
Right, and I was gonna
What
use
we
my-
did each Monday, so you guys are up on what's going on, because you know.
Right, Dawn created a department head list for me
Yeah.
to send out, but I was using my personal email. I feel like it would be more appropriate to have a board email,
Yeah.
so that when we open it here, and I'll keep bringing my computer until we get one, but when we open it here, department head Ladonna Reinert requested that she get a spending approval for $750 because yada yada broke. And then we just say, the motion, we act now, we send back the approval, then she knows it happened before she has to wait on the approved minutes, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that, okay.
We need a motion to do that, or just do it?
I don't think so, Dawn, did you look into that at all? I know,
I haven't had a chance.
do you know how burdensome that would be to just add a
I just have to
department?
create it,
Okay,
so.
okay, so Lincoln County Commission at County,
It'll
LC's,
probably be
Lincoln
LC
COKS.
commissioners.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that'd be good to do
Okay.
that.
So hopefully that'll expedite some of that process. And thank you for volunteering to do that. Maybe researching where we are in the position of receiving that grant money to fund our budget right
Well,
now
I
would
believe
be.
I saw an email.
Well, Davis,
that Meg
before
could
said
afford
he
it to
thought
me
it was
that it was
coming.
coming, yeah,
He
but
reported
I
to us a
don't,
couple weeks ago that he thought it was in
yeah,
the process of getting here. Now, I don't know how quick that is.
I can check, I know the people to ask, so that's not a problem. So, and as incident command is followed, I'm sure fire incidents, the fire chief is always in charge, law enforcement is in charge of wrecks and all that kind of thing. I think probably they will step up into those roles and take care of those things for right now. It would be the storms and things like that, that I don't know who will do that. And some people have asked me and I said, I do not know, so.
Well, it's my
I'm just
understanding that we
forwarding
have
that.
volunteer storm spotters that report regularly,
Right,
in addition to the emergency manager doing it from wherever he's
Right.
located.
so,
So is that a statutory requirement to have so X amount of reporters, or can we use the volunteer reporters that have been doing it?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, I don't know that. I just know fires and accidents and things are probably fine. I don't know about weather.
Yeah, like tornadoes watching.
And
stuff.
maybe the law enforcement takes care of that too. I don't know. I'm just mentioning
Well,
somebody
I
had
know
asked me and I do not
We have
know.
actual citizen volunteers doing storm watching as well. I've seen that.
But I think they keep in contact with law enforcement, probably, when that's going on.
Yeah.
We should probably maybe ask
Well, we need to take a look at the statute. I mean,
sheriff or undersheriff.
it is very specific about what the minimum is that you have to do in order to financially provide for an
Well, that makes
emergency manager.
But we should maybe see what David, if we was coordinating now with sheriff's department, how they were involved.
Yeah, I have two more things. The fire chiefs meet quarterly, and their next meeting is Tuesday, September 3rd in Hunter at 7 p.m. Law enforcement and EMS also are invited to that, and they would like a county commissioner to come to that meeting.
What day is it?
It's Tuesday, September 3rd, 7 p.m. at the community building in Hunter. And supper is served.
That did it, I'll go.
They have good meals at Hunter.
Wait, is that the one? Wait, Hunter. Oh, where the cafe is?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, yeah, we're right next to
Helen-
it.
Community
Helen's
building,
one,
uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe we should all go.
that would make it
That would
a
make it
commission meeting.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
actually, we can all be there if we don't speak to each other and not be an open meeting, but
Well, I won't go, then I won't do anything.
Well, I'll go.
Okay.
I'm just forwarding the information from the
Yeah.
fire chiefs.
Who's the chief up there now?
Hunter, I think it's, it'll come to me.
That's our,
Brad,
Doesn't matter.
Brad Nitch,
yeah.
yeah. And we're running behind, but this is just food for thought. I have never understood why, and I don't know if this pertains to emergency management and the highway department, but why do they have vehicles at their homes when they're 3 blocks from the shop? I don't get to take my car home. I would bet that any emergency that's called out, they have to go to the shop to pick up equipment or something anyway. And so why is that a fringe benefit that some department heads get and others don't? And I know you don't need to discuss it today. I know that's the way it's always been, and I'm just not really sure why. That's my question. And otherwise, I'm just here for the merit ways discussion, so.
thank you for bringing your concerns to us, and thank you for stepping up to fill in to get some information gathered under the emergency management department. I am currently gonna write to the board, the Regional Homeland Security Board. Do I have permission to at least
Yeah.
contact them
Yeah.
and tell them, okay?
I have an auxiliary issue that we brought up, just did. We laid more stuff on Dawn, and it's high time we had our human resources person hired, and let's make her the secretary to the BOCC. Dawn still has to take the minutes by statute, but this other person can do all these other chores that we need. And I think we need to expeditiously get us an HR person, get her in the county commission secretary business. Unless that'll hurt your feelings. Have we advertised for that position already?
Because you guys haven't fully approved it.
We haven't approved the hire, I thought we did.
The last one that we approved was in the highway department, office manager, equipment operator.
Well, you didn't really approve that because I think Liz needs to talk to you about what we're advertising
Okay,
because of
I thought last week that's what we
equipment
had
operator
decided.
was moved. Normally we advertise for a motor grader, which is what we have on the website now. But my understanding is a motor grader or somebody was moved into that spot without advertising. Do we need to advertise and then apply? They just move? Can everybody just be considered equipment operators?
They've been moved before without advertising.
But they didn't change.
My husband was moved off a motor grader into a truck. There was no advertising for the person who took his route.
There was.
Well,
No, there
actually,
wasn't.
but that
For the
was,
truck
that was a
driver
choice of
position.
the department head. The commission we didn't even know that had happened until after it happened. We did not do that.
I know.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying,
That
we are
When
trying
they
to.
move them around, they don't advertise for those positions.
They normally do. That's what we get criticized for.
Well, I thought they moved somebody from Road and Bridge to somewhere else, truck
Well-
driver, and back and forth all the time.
We
I
need to,
don't know that
we
we've
need
always
to
done that.
decide what we're gonna do and give that to the department head, because one of the things we have done is created an incentive for people to be cross-trained in a whole bunch of jobs. And if you're cross-trained, you shouldn't have to advertise for that, so it ought to be up to the department head
To
to
move
space the
people
people
around,
where
to
they
move
belong.
people.
Yeah, internally, yeah,
Right.
because it's not like a new job for
Unless
them.
it's a supervisory position, I would think that would be, you know,
But back to HR, I would really like to see that advertising go out real quick. And let's get somebody on board for that. We got a lot of stuff that they need to be doing. So, can you create a job description or
Well,
an
she-
advertisement or whatever we need to do?
You guys have to tell me what you want.
Don
Let's
gave,
stop that discussion because right now on the agenda, we are under merit raise discussion with department heads. So I assume that's why we have you guys here. You're the department heads. Do we have any more coming that we, because I'm assuming
know.
you had said that that was gonna be on the agenda for today. I didn't. So
I did.
you, okay.
What, the merit raises?
No,
Oh.
that the department heads were notified.
Yes, they
Okay.
would.
Okay, so do we have anyone else that needs to be part of this discussion is where I am.
She went to get Derek.
While you guys are waiting on Derek, the highway department was not on the agenda, but there's stuff I needed to notify you of, I guess.
Is Derek coming?
We don't know where he is.
He was here, okay, then go ahead.
Do I-
Yes, come
Yeah.
forward, we'll just,
Okay, okay.
Just give us
It
the
won't
paperwork.
take very long. Okay, let's see. First of all, okay, here's the weekly.
schedule.
Okay. The Yule project, I will have a cost review, I just have not had a chance to get it done due to all the end of the month stuff and kind of going back and forth, so I will get that at some point for you. Okay,
I've heard
guys,
good things about it from people, I mean, so
Yeah.
it looks like it's going well and it's almost finished, I suppose.
they are pretty, for the most part done, yes. Which I think they're really done at this point. Okay, this gentleman came in and he handed a sealed bid. I think Michael at one point had talked to him about the shop building. They're like some brickwork. It's getting to be where some of the
Did we advertise the bid or?
I don't know anything about it. The guy brought it in,
I
and
guess it
I
depends on the
think
price of the project, that whether or not.
I don't know if it
I
has
think he
or
told
if
you guys
Michael.
about it last year, but I think.
He
they
did
went ahead
see,
and
he
yeah,
did
did
show
it.
us pictures of what had happened.
Yeah, and
I
so
was
I
asked
think he
last
just kinda
April.
moved forward to get bids,
Okay.
and this guy's been laid up. He was still on crutches,
Yeah.
so,
This is dated the 8/13. I was asked last April to submit a bid to work on the county maintenance building using mortar to fill holes and cracks and some removing of the old mortar and replacing it with new mortar. Through several years, I have done similar work on about 11 bridges throughout the county. Insurance is Progressive in Lincoln. That's gonna be an insurance claim?
No, he's probably telling you.
Oh, his own, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, okay.
Liability insurance.
I was gonna say, Kate, yeah, okay. And $7,600 material and labor, and that's from Dennis Cross. I think if it's under a dollar amount, we don't have to bid it, so I might suggest that we do approve that.
he will be off his crutches in about 3 weeks, I think. I think is what he was saying. So, yeah, he was kinda incapacitated right now, but he wanted to make sure the bid was in. This is off the little card things that you guys sent around, that's the only one I got.
Okay,
And then,
Okay. Thank you.
let's see, Tim Line is due for a raise, increase his year raise.
1 year?
And sorry, I did not put his start date on there,
It's
but
August 6th, and I
Okay.
didn't think about it, but that won't be until the August 26th pay period, but we can
So
still
we can approve it to be, yeah.
do it, it just won't be on this paycheck.
right, okay.
I
So-
move to approve the 1 year increase for
Tim Line,
Tim Line.
second there.
Okay.
It has been moved and approved for the 1 year increase, which I believe is 50 cents.
For 25 cents.
It's 25, it's 50 cents at 6 months, 25 cents at 1 year. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
None opposed.
Okay.
And I will say that that is being done without looking at the evaluation because we did look at the evaluation. And so unless you have any
No,
discussions that you wanna go back into executive
No,
session,
no,
I remember it,
that's fine.
so.
Okay. And then I will let you know that, I did change around some late guys when Dawn was just talking about that and Ladonna. In Lincoln now, it'll be Gary Fuller and Emmett Haug. Once Mike Ward is gone, Emmett is actually helping and doing mowing and stuff right now and blading. Although we're patching, but I'm just saying he did go out and mow a little or blade a little bit of that route, just to start learning it. Because Emmett, I put Gary Frederick King in Vesper with Rick Waffle. There were just a few little problems with a couple of guys. And so we just felt it best to kind of move them a little bit. And then Wally and Tim will still be in Westfall. And then Sylvan will be Dave Winkler and Bobby Zacco. And I think that's the one that was kind of in question. He has been doing the blade route while Gary Frederick King has been off. So we just left him on it. And with Mike Ward retiring, it just was easy to move someone in there that had already been doing it. So
Okay,
that's how we just kind of left it. And I met with all the guys and I called Rick to make sure that was okay with him. And I talked to Mike Ward prior to him retiring. And they were all fine with it. We met. They went out.
I know this isn't exactly just on the subject, but we had been contacted by Sylvan. Do you know which grader is supposed to go to them?
Oh, I'm sure, and he had talked to me about that. I did not know that there was anything signed. This is what I know. Gary Frederick King has been here for 15, 16, whatever it is, years. And he had waited a long time on getting that blade that he was put in. And so Bobby is in a spare blade right now. And that's probably where the problem is.
Well, no, Sylvan Grove
we were gonna,
purchased
we were
from
gonna
us
sell us.
at a.
Oh, the Sylvan, that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
The old
No,
one that we
I'm
were
sorry, I
selling.
didn't
I'm
mean
sorry.
the route, I meant the
Yes.
city.
No.
So do you know which one that is? Because we're
It is,
to collect a check from them and then we're to get that equipment over there, so.
yeah. They have not done that, and I wasn't in on any of that, so I'm not sure, but it's the I would have to look at them and I can tell you which one it is, but I
Somebody
can't tell you what the number is.
Somebody knows out there.
Yes,
I guess
yes.
what I'm saying
It
is-
is up on the north lot.
Okay.
It is on the
We'll
north lot,
figure
I
it
believe,
out.
yeah.
It's one of
We
them.
need
They
to
know.
assign someone to do that because we are expecting a
It's-
check for an
Yes,
agreed
I
upon
haven't
amount.
received it yet, but
But
yes.
as when that happens, we need to move it, so.
Yes, and that can be done if somebody just,
But it's my
find out
understanding
when
that
that is,
Bobby
yes.
is on the last of the 2 blades that did not get replaced in the rotation, and
Yes.
Johnny Wilting's on the other one.
Correct, that is correct, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are
Okay.
absolutely right.
And we still have 2 more, one of which we're now selling to Sylvan, and one of which is the spare. Is-
Yeah, and it was kinda said that those guys were talking about that they were hoping that they were kinda hoping the one that Sylvan was getting would end up being our spare. For
Right,
whatever
because they
reason,
took
I
the
don't
better
know.
of the 2 left,
Yeah.
but it's my
Yeah.
understanding that we can sell off the other one and
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
one out. So-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. And the last thing that I have, well, so then, are we needing to do the advertising on those? I mean, I
Yes.
just flopped those
Yes.
on the
So-
blade guys? On
Well,
So the
No,
motivator
I would
positions are
envision-
full, but what's
motivator is
open?
full.
but an equipment operator, maybe not specifically the blade job description, but an equipment operator, period. Because if we have someone working on the bridges, they need to be able to use the backhoe or
Right.
the loader, or so we still need an equipment operator.
Yes.
Okay.
When they say equipment operator, can that mean loader, backhoe, grader, anything? Or is it
That
gotta be?
is what
or you
they've
get-
all been,
Or do we have
yes,
to
it is all
specify, we want a
classified.
grader driver, we want a backhoe operator?
Well,
we-
you do
we
if you want a blade
dozer.
guy.
We do on the blade guy, and we didn't necessarily on the dozer, but we wanted them to know they were primarily going to be running a dozer, so we
Right.
kind of signified that. They are,
Or
or
a
an
truck
equipment
driver.
operator or a truck driver, so the
Okay.
truck driver position we have open.
You do?
Yes. 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 Let me look at my list real quick. Yes, that would be correct.
But everyone has a CDL.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
everyone does.
Good.
So anyone coming in, it would, since you brought up CDL, I just would want to make a suggestion, and I don't know, it's how you guys decide. In the past, Lincoln County has absorbed the cost for anyone wanting to get a CDL, or they were employed, and within 6 months they had to have a CDL. And Lincoln County is the one absorbing that cost, and it's almost $900. And the several times that I've seen it happen, they get their CDL, and then several months later, they are gone. I just didn't know if there's something that could be done that they have to pay half, Lincoln County pays half, or they pay it all and so much comes out of a paycheck. I mean, I don't know.
Well, what we
I
do
mean,
in the EMS department is if we pay for them to get their schooling and they successfully pass, then and that's part of the state grant program too, but we make them sign on for a year at so many.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
2
that's,
years? Okay,
that
thank
was
you
gonna
for the
be
correction.
another thing.
So
Yeah,
we could just have a simple CDL agreement that they sign, that if we are going to pay that when they get hired, then they are gonna stay on for 2 years, and that could solve that problem, but thank you for bringing that to our
Yeah.
attention.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the last thing I have, and I'll get out of here, is, and this guy from Verizon, Derek is his name, Derek Schroeder, he, had come in and visited about the GPS, and he had visited initially with Michael, and then, he sat down with me, and it's something that Verizon offers, and so, like, I told him,
Wait, we already have GPS though.
we do,
But
this is
to
actually
add it to
cheaper,
yeah,
yeah, and this would be
to
like,
add to every other vehicle, and it's cheaper than what we're doing now for just certain, for
yeah,
just the graders.
I don't know
and
if they just started doing this, I have no idea, but that is, I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Okay.
And that might be
That's through
something
Verizon.
a person wants to look at,
And right
yes.
now we have Next Tech for the GPSs? or-
No, it's
It's its own
it is, GPS Insight is what it is right now.
So what do we have it on right now? All the graders.
What's at the top of that list? I don't have,
This This doesn't say.
this would be, his would take care of like 30 vehicles or
It's
something crazy.
36.
36,
That
yeah.
would be
That
almost
includes those
everything we
tablets
have.
and all the 3
No, no, no,
No.
this is entirely
This is
different.
just GPS tracking on the actual,
Kind of
Vehicle
a
itself.
LoJack kind of a
Oh.
thing.
which
Yeah.
we have on the blades and on
On the blades, on the trucks, and
the
the
county
weed.
trucks that they use at the outline posts.
Yes,
And
yes. Blades, trucks, the
so
the
that's about
pickups.
15.
yeah,
It-
this is probably double.
The pickups that the supervisors drive?
No.
Okay. Well, we can discuss the,
Yeah.
the new.
So
Yeah.
I just
the
wanted
new
to bring that up to you.
director. Okay.
That is it. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
on your status, you're still,
I,
I talked to Liz before, I haven't officially talked to these guys about it, and I talked to Jennifer, that you've said you would, even though you're gonna go work for her, you're gonna continue to help in highway department, which we appreciate, I do. And, Jennifer agreed, at least through August, and then after that, we'll have to, I don't know.
right now, I'm coming in, well, I worked over the weekend and then I'm coming in, I was here at 6 this morning and
Okay. And I
got the
think,
morning stuff going and then I'll go back there today at 4:30.
okay, and you're probably
take care of
getting
everything.
overtime because you're putting in extra hours. And
Yes.
now we probably need to determine, I've talked to Don some about this, maybe all the overtime should go in the highway department budget probably.
Yes.
And
Dawn
I think
I
that we
visited.
probably should make a motion here to, since Liz is helping its highway department, but still working out with Jennifer, but I think we should make a motion, I will, to let Liz continue to do this, because it's not your normal job, deal that we deal with here, because you're helping 2 departments, and I appreciate it, cause that, you're doing a lot for us down there. So I wanna make a motion to let Liz continue to work for Jennifer, on the county attorney, but then also work when needed or when you have time at the highway department, at least through August, and maybe continuing after that, depending on Jennifer's situation and your situation, okay?
As long as I keep the 2 separate, I think
With,
I'm okay.
Overtime pay to come from the highway department.
With overtime pay to be billed to the highway department, yes. That's right,
Yes.
okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to not accept Liz's resignation? Is
Well-
that the motion, or, we haven't ever formally accepted her resignation, it was presented to us. Are you suggesting that, I don't think we can accept the resignation and kinda keep paying her, that's,
Well, she's working
I'm
for another department
yeah,
of the
but I'm
county anyway.
confused how the county attorney's secretary has enough time to do that when we asked the appraiser's office to cover some of that, and they don't have enough time, or at least that was the response.
Well, we want her to do it because she knows what she's doing there.
knows.
Appraiser's office lady does not know what's going on there. I'm not putting her down, I'm just saying, Liz knows what's going on there.
So
And
you're
she-
saying we're going to re-employ her, she's gonna do 40 hours a week at her new job, and then we're going to
And she-
re-employ her
And she's
for
gonna
after
help us,
hours?
she's gonna help keep the highway department running until we get somebody else
Is
in
that
there.
gonna happen after 4 PM, or I'm not?
I don't know, whenever she wants and on weekends if she wants. I don't care when the hell she goes there, I just want, if she volunteered to help us keep that place operational, she wouldn't have to. And then we'd have a pile of paper down there 6 foot tall. So that's damn good for us, and I don't know how to charge that, but we need to do it if she
Well, then I think
volunteered
you
to
have
do
to
it.
I think you have to rehire her, she's already resigned. So I don't think we can just say, yes, you're not an employee anymore, but we're still gonna pay you. I think you have to hire her part-time.
I don't
Because that
know,
is not overtime for that
I don't know the
department.
official way to do that,
If she's
Don.
already hired. I'm not sure how you can.
It is gonna be overtime though, because we are the same employer. So Fair Labor and Standards deems it based upon what your tax ID number is.
Right,
So
so she's
because
already getting a
both
paycheck for
departments-
40 hours from one department, so if she puts in more than 40 hours, doesn't matter what department.
Correct. It's gonna be overtime regardless, so you guys just need to approve of her, I guess, continuing to work at the highway department part-time until you can hire somebody or until the end of August.
Is there a time limit on this? Or is
Well,
there-
Jennifer said to me, she thought through August, and then we would evaluate where to do after that.
I believe that's when I would have been, if somebody needed me and I had to run down. That's kind of what that, I think, arrived at. But I'm coming in at 6 in the morning,
So this
working a
is
couple
not-
hours.
This isn't part of the discussion you've had with your new boss. This is, you're coming to us saying, I'm gonna do hours.
No, she
overtime."
discussed it with Jennifer though.
Right,
Jennifer
she
was
just
allowed
said
And
to-
Jennifer
Jennifer-
said
but
she
I
could
think
run
Jen-
over there
I
if
think,
something was needed.
I think as it was in the beginning, it was if I was being taken away to go over there from this job.
Right,
But I'm not.
right.
I'm not.
Your priority's Jennifer's
Yes.
employee, and when you have extra time, if you do, then you'll go help the highway department. If you
And I'm used to coming in at 6 anyway. I figured that's a good time to get over there. The guys start coming at 6:30, get them
Yeah.
around, do
Yeah,
several
maybe we
things,
should
and
not,
then.
maybe we should just do a professional service contract with you. We don't have to bid it out. You can just sign a contract to do whatever
I'm
you need to
just
do
offering,
for us.
it's entirely up to you
We don't
guys.
have to send her a 1099 though at the end of the year. If she's contracted, then we'd have to send her a 1099 at the end of the year.
Well, why don't we,
Huh?
Can you do,
not accept her resignation and,
Consider it like a
and
transfer.
accept it with modification such that she can continue to work at the highway department as an overtime employee, and those hours she's not working for the county attorney.
And
That
can-
continues her employment, that'll let you get overtime, and we don't have to get wrapped up in a contract or anything else.
Well, and also I don't know if we can do it, Don would know, but, if we could do like a county transfer from one department to another, just a transfer. You go now from highway department to work for Jennifer, and they're not even resigning and then rehiring, but I don't know the paperwork has to do that, Don probably.
Yeah, she's definitely resigning from her position unless
Well, we could
you
rescind
vote to
that.
not accept the resignation. And then keep her on as an employee in that position until a set date. I would
Accept
like
her
to have.
resignation with modification.
I don't know.
I mean, I can give you
But
a
that's still
set
a
date, you might
resignation.
not like that. If I mean,
Which
I'm
is
just
August
saying.
31st, is that what you're saying?
No. No, I'm just saying because of the situation of everything. You know, there's an awful lot that I'm doing over there right now that no one would have a clue.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
why I
I'm just
think
saying, why don't you guys can decide and then somebody just tell me, you can either keep me or not. I mean, it's
Well, we wanna keep you, I
up to
do.
you.
Now, how to do it, officially through paperwork and through the way we pay,
I think your motion was fine.
okay.
I have that you move to let Liz Lee continue to work for Jennifer for the county attorney and to work for the highway department with overtime to be billed to the highway department. And then you can put a date or,
Yeah, let's at
And
least have
Jennifer
that
being my
information
primary
or
Yeah.
admit.
job, yeah.
Well, and
I mean,
Jennifer emailed me, I said, at least through August, end of August. And she said after that, we would have to
We'll have to-
discuss how busy you're
So
getting
are you gonna
there.
put a date of August 31st on it?
Tentative though, that doesn't mean we have
I'd
to.
put a date as mutually agreed upon with the county attorney and the new head of the highway department. Because you may want some overlap to show the new head, assuming we're gonna hire one someday, a lot of stuff there. And at some particular time in the future, that head and Jennifer will agree that you no longer have to go over and do.
Well, and Jennifer, I talked to her, cause she's your boss now, new one, and I said, we wanna work with you.
Yes.
She said she's damn busy because you guys are getting this sale of all this, real estate sale stuff coming up,
Right,
so that's
and that'll
busy.
be in
And that's your
September.
priority, that's your prime job.
Correct.
And if you don't have time to then go to the highway department, well, then you don't
Right.
have time. But if you do, then that's good too.
Yeah,
Okay?
right now, coming in, for me, I mean, I'm already used to coming here at 6
Okay, I'm gonna
anyway.
call for a
It's,
vote
you know.
based on the discussion that we know we have a date through August 31st.
But it doesn't have
After
to,
that, it will be reevaluated.
Reevaluated,
There
yeah.
has to be some sort of end date to this, or we can't just continue to do that. So,
all right,
I call for a vote on the motion with the discussed date of the end date of through August 31st, which is the Saturday anyhow. Is there any further discussion or questions? If not, those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Nay. Okay, moving on. We are into our discussion on the
Thanks, Liz.
department heads. Thank you. So.
There's chairs over here. Where's your coffee?
Okay, I think it might be appropriate for us to attend an executive session with the department heads due to the varying circumstances of each department, and it deals with personnel issues with their private, confidential information, which is not to be shared by the commission. So if you would agree to that, that's my suggestion before we come out and have an open discussion on what we're going to do with the money. The money is to be a public matter, discussed in open session, but
You got your sheet to make the motion?
the actual
Yeah, I'll make,
evaluation situation needs to be discussed in closed session. So I would entertain a motion to have a 10-minute executive session with the department heads.
all right, I'll make a motion to move, to recess into executive session for, what, 10 minutes?
That's, or 10 or
I'd
15
go
minutes.
15.
15 minutes for the purpose of discussing, evaluations with the department heads pursuant to KSA 754319 2B, which one of those would it be?
Number one,
Number one, to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, to reconvene in the commission room, in the courthouse when concluded.
With who present?
With the, commissioners present, county clerk, and the department heads.
You need to name one.
Do I name them?
Yes,
Okay.
please. I
County
guess
tre-
you can ask them to stand if you want.
County treasurer.
I have to leave at 13
you
minutes
can
after.
leave the session.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
So with the, department heads, which include Leanne, Tammy,
Derek,
Rhonda, yeah, I'm sorry,
Ladonna.
Ladonna, Derek,
The commission.
and the commission. You're not a department head.
I didn't say that.
Oh.
Who are they? All we know is the first name.
I'll put it in
Leanne
parentheses, it's
Bishop,
okay.
Tammy Kurth, Rhonda Wright, Ladonna Reinert, Derek Walter, Alexis Flug,
Randy Loman, Jim Goodman,
James Gableman. Okay,
Seconded by?
and you, and Don Harlow.
okay, yes.
Did you
15
second?
minutes. Yes, I seconded it.
It's been moved and seconded for 15 minutes in a closed session. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor, my question for discussion is, are we missing anyone?
Well,
I
there,
mean, I know we don't have a highway or emergency management department. We're missing John Paul.
Law enforcement,
John
John
Paul's
Paul's
not
not
a
a
department
department
head.
head.
law
We
enforcement.
Well-
just got done discussing that he was.
No, he's not. You guys are in charge of him. You're the department head.
But that would be the same for emergency management then.
Yes.
Okay, okay,
sheriff's not here.
okay. He's elected official.
Noxious weed.
Yes.
He's not here and Dan's not here.
Yes, we are
I'm
missing.
just guessing they can't get away, so.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you for the discussion there. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Back in session. Okay, I think the first thing that needs to be said is we have to have this direct communication between the department heads and the commission because it's been going through Dawn. And I think that puts an undue burden on a one-person board, a one-person office. I think we are elected onto the board to handle that, and the whole time I've been on the commission, all the department heads are taking all their complaints to Dawn. And it can't be that way anymore. It has to come directly to the commission. Dawn is not the mediator between the commission and the department heads. The department heads need to communicate directly with the commission. You either need to get on the agenda to speak to us, or, I don't know if you were here earlier, ladies, for what I had discussed, but I would like to have the commission have an open records email, and you can just email us directly. Please do not go to Dawn anymore with concerns about raises or evaluations or anything like that. She's basically just to output the information. We need to take responsibility for that. That being said, we're now in open session to discuss the merit raises for the second half of the year. I know there's a lot of frustration about the timing of it. I will say that the board prior, which was not including these two, had made the decision that we were gonna hold off on the second part of the 50 cents that we budgeted to get this kind of thing done. And there was only one department, which was the health department, that turned them in by the end of the year last year when we had requested that this process begin. So let's not have blame go on one particular entity. There were some that were late, there were some that were on time. The commission has pushed back deadlines because of some of these varying issues. So that being said, I'm still in favor of rewarding the people who did it right and giving the higher amounts to the ones who did their, who got their evaluations according to what the department had said. But it's been suggested that we do 25 cents across the board simply as a morale booster and forget the merit raise. I would call that, I don't know what I'd call that, but it's basically what we did in January, which is 25 cents across the board. That is,
I think we should this year. I'm not against evaluations, but we're in a mess now, and with this whole issue, I think we should do it 25 cents across the board right now. Merit raise, call it that if you want, for everyone that was eligible. And then you go back and maybe redo the evaluations, like Ladonna stated, the way the form is. Maybe work with the department heads on the form they would like and we would like. And then maybe we could go for merit raises next year. So for now, I think we should give our 25% merit raise this year across the board.
I think it would be a better incentive to give that 25 cents in January as part of the merit raise and do 50 cents at the beginning of the year as a merit raise.
You mean starting in January for next year?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
nothing
the
there.
evaluation process that we've gone through already was surely a learning process, and one of the biggest concerns is the form that was used and what the expectations are as to setting a scale as to what equals 25 cents, what equals 15 cents, and what equals nothing. Any variation thereof. So if there's that much complaint and that much variance between people saying that they know certain people shouldn't receive 25 cents versus a whole group who may not receive anything based on the evaluation performance, what is the purpose then of giving it?
If you're gonna go off evaluations between different departments, you're always gonna have a problem where someone's gonna complain their people didn't get treated as well as other people. Because every department head here is gonna treat their employees differently the way they evaluate them. Derek may evaluate his employee one way, where Ladonna different, and Rhonda different too. So because of that, you're gonna have a deviation because you're getting down to personal beliefs and that. So you're gonna, so somebody can say Rhonda gave her employee, gave her all fours, so she gets a quarter, and then they'll say over here, well, we was screwed our department because that department's boss was nicer to them. So you're always gonna you're gonna have this problem forever if you're gonna do these evaluations and make merit raises based off of that.
So-
Now, I'm not against them, but be aware, that's what we're gonna have to deal
So
with.
one thing that was brought up is that other areas do merit-based raises, but the evaluation is not directly tied to it. So we can still ask for the evaluations, which has been very insightful. It has been very insightful. to
Yeah, I'm
have
not
the
against,
evaluation.
again, I'm not
On
against.
both ends, what the employee says about him or herself and what they say about the department head or the department, also what the department head says about the employee. That has been very insightful. We don't have to score that evaluation and tie a number to it. We can ask the department head, which they've already done, to suggest a dollar amount or a cents amount and do it according to that. Then each employee will know what their boss suggested to them, not just based on how they scaled in the evaluation. The evaluation can be just used for praise or reprimand, verbal.
That'd be all right.
And/or documentation.
Well, I think maybe we should let the,
We have those numbers.
department heads,
We have those numbers.
let the department heads,
They suggest, so
But we
now
didn't-
each employee will know
but
what the department head personally suggested as far as a number. I mean, that puts all the pressure on you then. I felt that by asking you to do an evaluation and giving you a scale and then tying a number to a scale, it takes the pressure off of you because you didn't know, you weren't going to pre-calculate what that cent was. Now, if you want the pressure, have it. I will go along with that. That's my determination. And if you still want to vote through 25 cents across the board, that's fine. But I'm saying, if the department heads want the pressure to assign a dollar amount individually to each employee, then that's on them. If we want to take the pressure and say, here's the scale, tell us how your employees are doing, and we're going to fit them into this scale, then that's on us. It's one or the other.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Did all the department heads get back with you about the ABCD thing?
Where is that? Do you have yours? The
What?
ABC, the ABC ranking? I can't.
No, I don't here. I left some of our paper at
If
home.
we gave that ranking, I don't know that we are against that.
You did.
Did all the department heads?
No.
Well, then, they get what they get.
Well, and see,
Is
there
that
you
what you're
go. I
trying to
mean, the
say?
department heads that didn't do that then really deserve the scale, sliding scale, according to what the numbers are. And the department heads that returned back with their ranking, that would be,
I shouldn't necessarily say that though, because the ones that didn't would be the ones that you guys are in charge of.
Like the direct, John Palmer,
Yes.
East Emergency Management.
Yes, noxious weed. I gave those to you, I just gave one copy last Monday, and it was paper clipped. They were emails, so I could go print them again.
let me see.
What are you looking for now?
The ABC ranking, these are all the evaluations that I thought I stuck in.
We're always gonna have this problem though with, evaluations with people, some people are gonna feel they're unfair because their department head didn't treat them as well as some other department head treated their employees.
But that's exactly what you're doing by saying that the department head determines the dollar amount unattached to the evaluation. The evaluation is for us to have a discussion and see where we are. If you don't attach the raise to that, then you're leaving it at the sole discretion of the department head, and they can deal with their own employees liking or not liking what they gave them. And then that gives us an idea, does this department head give 25 across the board, or do they give 0 across the board? Are they too tough? Are they too easy? Are they varying it, where you can see that they're actually giving contemplation and thought into it? Or do we take the responsibility and say, you gave us the evaluation, we looked at the scale, we see how they rank, we're gonna do it based on a scale? It's one or the other. Or it's 25 cents for everyone,
Across the board.
even, yeah,
Well,
even,
that's what some people do.
I mean-
Then you don't have all this issue, all this,
but then you have employees who work their behinds off, who don't get to acknowledge that they've done more this year.
well, that's true.
I don't, that's not my preference, but, you know, if we're just gonna placate, then that's what you do.
Yeah.
We talked about placating earlier, that is placation at its finest. I do not have the ABC.
I can go right
These are just the evaluations.
That's all right, we don't need it.
Well, we do, because if you're gonna allow them to rank their own employees for not for dollar amounts, then that's what we're gonna go on.
Yeah, we don't need it today, right now.
Yeah, we do, we have
What's
to make
the
a decision.
motion today?
I'll make a motion to, right now, to make across the board 25 cents an hour raise for the second raise this year. We had one in January, right? For the across the board merit raise, call it whatever, merit, I guess. No merit
Right,
raise, just
not merit.
just across the board raise for all employees this year, but, and that's all I'll say for now.
You got that? Second.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have no more messages, motions that were going second at this point.
What?
We're not gonna have any motions that were going second at this point.
Okay, it has been
Vote
moved and,
down.
it has been moved and seconded for 25 cents across the board. No consideration for merit. Any discussion?
Well, I would like to still stick with them evaluations and maybe a merit raise this year, but hopefully, it was a messy process this year, and that's where we're at right now, where we're at. I do think we can, I agree with you, Alexis, I think we can maybe do evaluations to do merit raises, but maybe we could do it and make it more, understandable. We gotta be upfront with all the department heads that they better have their paperwork turned in. All the forms gotta be consistent across the board, and if one's late, if somebody's late to not getting them in, well, then they're gonna get, their employees are gonna get, punished for it because they haven't got their paperwork in. We gotta be firm about that, we gotta be organized more. We were a little unorganized in this, and I know it's the first time, and I think it was a good attempt by you to to do this, and you and the other
Well,
commissioners.
it's also a transition of two boards.
Yeah,
I mean,
right, the
you're not the same
transition.
people.
But I agree, but for now, I
Okay,
think, so that's
if
where
we're
I'm
gonna
at.
do across the board,
Yeah,
then why would we do the full 25 cents? If we're gonna do across the board, why wouldn't we do 15? Let's punish both ends then. You know, if the people who deserve 25 are gonna get 25, and they know that the people who don't deserve 25 are also gonna get 25, why don't we meet in the middle? Because that's not fair. And maybe the people who do work hard need to see that it's not fair. If you're just gonna do across the board, then why should anyone get the full amount, or why should anyone get none?
Well, I think we don't wanna have anything tied to the merit plan or the evaluation. I think that was flawed, and I don't think we need to discuss that, as part of the raise. I think we need to develop a written policy if you wanna do evaluation, how to do it, how you're gonna put money to it, and all that stuff, and that's never been done. I haven't seen any policy on that.
Then I would like to see the motion revised to say cost of living raise. That we attribute this to cost of living, because this has nothing to do with work performance. I'm sorry, I won't vote for something that we said is gonna be work performance related, and now it's
No, he
not.
said specifically it was not work
Could
performance
you
related.
restate the motion?
I have that he moved to give a 25 cent per hour across the board salary increase.
Period.
yeah, I did.
Could we add that
Yeah, we can make cost of living.
with no regard for merit raise?
Right, yeah,
Or, I
that's
mean,
fine.
just, because what I'm saying is, we already had discussions and
Right.
contemplation and
I agree.
anticipation that it was merit. So now I'd like to make sure that everyone knows this is not merit based.
That's fine.
Then
Could
state
you
your
also
motion.
do an
I
effective?
could restate the motion
No.
that,
Just
State
amend,
your
amend,
amendment.
just amend the motion.
I'll
I move
amend.
to amend.
I'll move to amend my motion that states that this 25 cents across the board raise is for cost of living raise.
No, it's not for merit,
Right, it's not for merit
just the raise.
and cost of living, or just a raise and not for merit.
Motion that with no, or amend the motion that the raise is with, is not in with regard to merit.
Exactly, I
Right.
second that.
We wouldn't say is not in with,
Is not with regard to merit.
correct.
And will you please amend it to include an effective date?
It would be July 1st.
Yeah, okay.
So
Which
can
means
it
you
be
get-
June 26th?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Seconded,
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to amend the motion to make sure that it's clear this is not tied to merit. Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And to get back again, I'm not against evaluations and I'm not against merit raises based off of them. I just think we were pretty sloppy, not sloppy, but unorganized this
No,
year.
Vote on the main motion now.
Call for vote.
Okay.
Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Now that we need to develop a policy manual for merit-based raises if you wanna do that, or we just ignore it and not ever do merit-based raises, I don't care, either way.
Well, when you do, you get into this situation we're into now.
I
You open up a can of worms, but I kinda agree with Alexis also though, that you got a really great employee there that's really wanting to be ambitious and cross-train. And I think they should be rewarded maybe more than the person who's just doing the day-to-day.
What I think this
Isn't it?
is a result of years and years of a commission that never took anything into their own hands. And that basically were saying yay and nay according to what they were told periodically by whomever. You know, there's been more discussion in the last 6 months even
Yeah.
than my prior 2 years. So I think we are
Well, we're bringing it up.
in effect, we are now taking on the brunt of what was created by a prior situation, which was no discussion, no accountability. I mean, I understand there's a communication breakdown between the department heads and the commission, but when wasn't there? Honestly, if I didn't even come onto this board with a commission email to access, what's that tell you? I mean, it's been this way for a long time. Now the attempt to straighten that out looks like we're creating a mess when really it's the beginning of a resolution to the mess that was comfortable.
But the ideas and the changes need to come with some policy, like Jim says.
I agree with you.
And some discussion with the department.
The
heads.
handbook is
Not
where
just
it's at.
roll over us like a steamroller.
Well, I don't
That's
think
what we're saying.
I don't think we wanna roll over you like a
Well,
steamroller. You need to be fair to
That's
us too.
what it feels
well, Donna, you need to be fair to us too.
I am
We're trying to
trying
help
to
you
be.
out
Yeah,
too.
and this has been a year in the
That's
making.
what it
This
feels
And you
didn't
need to
just
help us too.
happen.
And we listen to
Haven't
you.
I done everything I
Yeah,
can?
yeah, but you kind of accuse us of being like we don't care about you. We do. But,
I'm
But-
not
so
saying
we
you
wanna work with
particularly.
department
I
heads.
represent all the department heads.
I know.
You guys have not bothered me in the slightest. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we are part of this solution too. The elected officials are equal to you guys. They're not under you guys. They're equal to you even though you control their budgets. And they don't feel like they're being treated necessarily that way.
Well, I can understand
So,
that.
I think I'm glad that you.
Yeah, could you elaborate on that a little bit?
I
Because
just think that we're gonna just make this change without asking any of us if it really needs to be a change. If you think it needs to be a change, what about the rest of us? It doesn't matter what the department heads think. It doesn't matter what the other elected officials
to
think.
ask you to do an evaluation?
No.
So what are you talking about? Because I thought that's what we were talking about.
Well, I think,
To ask about a merit raise or a regular raise. Who was having the problem with it? Who had the problem with it? The way it was.
Well,
That was my question.
That's what we're saying.
And nobody can answer
Yeah,
me
that's
who
the-
had the
the-
problem
The
with it.
people who pay the raises.
Nobody
because
told
it-
me that. Nobody's told any department
Well, that's-
head that we're unhappy about that.
Well, I agree
Well,
with
okay,
that,
so-
but that's in the rearview mirror.
No,
It is,
no,
and that's
So
what
now
we're
we're
trying
going
to
to
say.
develop
because
a
one of the-
policy,
And
and
I
then
just
we'll
want
put the
open
policy out for you guys
communication.
to look at it.
Open
No,
communication.
one of the
we started
continuous
some of that?
discussions that we have
Have we
is what,
started that?
is what
Yes.
other employers around here are paying. And I will tell you right now that the starting wage at APAC is only 13 something. And they don't pay the benefits package that we do. So I'm really tired. That's been brought to us continuously from the employee side saying,
Okay.
well, you know, you guys aren't
Ask me
competitive with
what a
around.
starting RN who just got out of RN school, who does similar work to me, gets paid at the hospital.
Okay, but you have that
More
choice.
than
You,
me.
But you have that choice to go and
So-
get that job at the hospital. Okay?
Everybody has.
These-
That's
these
what
aren't
you
issues.
you brought that up.
No,
These
what
aren't
I brought
issues
up
we need
People
to-
don't make as much.
Time out. These aren't issues that we need to discuss
No,
here.
they're not.
That's not
But-
the issue. The issue is that we are talking to department heads. You've had several
Yes.
meetings, we've organized you, we're gonna
That's,
continue.
And I
I
think we
appreciate that, and I thank you for
and we wanna
that.
help
Because that has not happened for
And when we-
But
years,
it's,
and I
it's
have
in the
asked for
process, so
years.
let's not look in the rear
And
view
if we
mirror,
do
let's figure
the-
out where we're
And thank
going.
you for organizing
and
it.
if we do the address evaluations, which again, I think we should, and the merit raises based on, we want your input. Ladonna, I do, and all the department heads. Say us what you think you should do, how to give a merit raise or not give a
I
merit raise.
appreciate
No,
that.
sure, I want it to work,
But
and I think we all
need
do.
to be included, not just me. I'm just
Well, that's
representing
fine.
the group,
They
that's
can,
all.
they're all here today, they're
And
welcome
if
to
they don't
come.
want me to, they can pick another representative.
No.
I've just been here probably, haven't been here the longest, but I'm not an elected official. I'm probably the longest department head who's not an elected official here.
But what
Except
I'm
for
saying,
Rhonda.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying
I'll
is,
do
we
that.
have started getting the
So.
department heads involved in all these things,
And we
and
appreciate
we wanna
it.
continue.
Yeah,
So
And I
let's
don't
not
think that's
argue about what they did last year, or
yeah,
whatever. Let's look at what we're gonna do from here on.
Thank you.
Well, what we need
I
to do
appreciate
is
that.
address the handbook, and you guys have already started that process. So I think we can
yeah, okay.
roll over into that being our fall project here
Exactly.
for us. Okay.
Thank you. I
Thank
got
you. Thank you.
All right. Yes, we're ready.
Wanda's here,
Wanda.
and then Derek needed to see you guys too. but-
Do you have a minute to wait?
Wait, quick.
Exec session?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, come on, Derek.
Okay. two
Sorry,
quick
Wanda.
things.
Would you mind waiting? Thank you.
The first is, I wanna bring an individual on, his name is Todd Hamby, introductory EMT, he's hot off the press, straight out of Morton County Community
Can you
College.
spell that?
HAMBY
Okay.
TODD.
Okay.
And I think he'll be okay, I'm gonna use him a couple days a month.
Part-time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I just wanna begin him at the introductory EMT rate,
Okay.
whatever that scale is.
I don't
Dawn?
think we know that.
I think so by now, but I don't.
I'm assuming the same as other employees, so 12:30.
Well, whatever their starting wage was though, because he would get a 6 month and a 1 year to get him to where other people are already at 1 year.
He-
Other
He's newbie.
county employees would be 12:30 in
Okay.
Allen.
But it would
think
be
that's
less
what we
than
heard.
75 cents, wouldn't it? Because Or are you saying that's what they hired on at?
That's what they hired on.
Do we have someone who's not 6 months yet that we can look at? I'm just saying, if
Well,
we're
we just hired Brittany Heald, and I'm pretty sure we hired her at 12:30.
12:30.
Okay.
Okay, so I move to approve employment for Todd Hamby. I'm sorry.
Just part-time, right?
Yes, it is.
As a part-time EMT at the entry level rate of $12.30 an hour.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The second issue is, this is the best insurance policy you have ever seen in your entire life. And what this is from Zoll Medical, and they cover our monitors, and this is on a yearly basis, $255 per unit. Our units are old enough that this is a godsend.
Do we have an existing policy?
We
Is it
used to
expired?
have, I don't know if it's still in existence or not. I
Okay.
know that it was canceled at one point in time 3-ish years ago,
Okay,
and I don't know if it was ever renewed. When this lady sent me this proposal, I jumped all over it.
okay,
This
sounds
is,
good.
this is a godsend. If we can get 2 years out of those monitors, it
okay.
will help us.
And not have to expend
Yes,
anything right now? and
Because a
maybe
new
plan on-
monitor from Philips is 12,000 a piece, times 3. A Zoll is right at
need
45 to
that back.
60. depending
It's
on
actually
what I get.
$12.05 per hour.
Okay, I move to amend my motion for the hiring of Todd Hamby to $12.05 per hour.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Don.
Yes.
Are you gonna provide us with a proposal for that insurance?
Yes, I propose that we continue with
Is this the sign, is this to be signed? I see a
No,
signature.
you guys don't need to sign it.
you're on it?
I just need you to
Okay.
authorize
Oh,
it.
okay.
Prove it.
That way I'm cool.
And I
move
think-
we approve that.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to approve the Zoll contract.
Right.
For the monitors?
maintenance, and they come to
What
our
are they called?
facility.
What monitors?
Zoll,
No, what are the monitors called?
they're Zoll Model E.
Zolma E.
de-
How do you spell that?
defibrillator.
Oh, it's the
They're
defibrillator. We have
defibrillator.
three.
Yeah,
We have three
yes, we do.
Okay,
One
for
on
the-
each truck.
for the defibrillators. One in Sylvan, two here.
Who seconded that?
Mr. Gableman.
Mhm.
No,
I
he
made
made
the
the motion,
motion,
I
she
seconded it,
seconded.
I'm sorry. It's been moved and seconded to approve the Zoll contract with the EMS department for the defibrillators. Any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
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 Okay, I'm done.
And I will just say, I think I already mentioned this, but when you have something to be approved, we're gonna try to be able to take care of that in
I
the
think
same.
that will be extremely.
Yes, in the same meeting.
Yes.
And something like that, just send it over and we'll send back the yay or nay and you can move on with it
Yep.
and report the paperwork to Dawn
Okay.
afterward.
That's very helpful.
Okay,
I appreciate it.
but yeah, thank
You
you.
were pretty busy with that semi rolling over up north, huh, Derek?
Yeah.
That
yesterday was-
killed a guy,
Yesterday
sir.
was much more interesting.
You know, with the fire,
The explosion.
yeah, explosion.
Was it gas? Was that gas?
I believe it was.
Thanks.
Sherry, lucky people.
Yes,
See
thank
y'all.
you,
See you.
thank you.
Come on up.
Okay. Good morning.
Hello.
Okay, I'm here with something very simple. It is the year-end FY19 year-end program report for the Department of Corrections for the adult probation. Okay. And we have to have these signed every year by all 6 boards of county commissions. But there's copies of the report. I fill these out quarterly,
Thank
and
you.
this is just the year end. Here you go, Don. And so basically, what it talks about in there is Department of Corrections is asking us to have a 75% success rate, and we have to come up with programs and items and things in there to try to get our population to that 75%. We're actually, this year, we're at 74%. We didn't make the 75. They're not going to withhold any money. It's just that we have to continue trying to make improvements. And that figure has fluctuated over the years, kind of up and down. We really don't have a whole lot of control over that because we get people on probation, whoever the judge sends, and there's no guarantee that we're gonna be successful with everyone. So, but the program that we do this in-house cognitive programming. We do it in group setting, and then we do another program with interactive journals in an individual setting. So those are things that we're doing with the programming. We're a small shop, so we don't have a lot of money, so there's not, a lot of large programs that we can do. And then I also wanted to give you this allocation figure. This is just, because last time I was here to get the grant signed, we were requesting the dollar amounts. I mean, they tell us what to write for the
Thank you.
juvenile and the adult grant, but then the behavioral health grant and the reinvestment grants, which are our programming grants, we can request certain dollars. So when I was here last time, you guys approved the grants that went in, and I wanted to tell you now, since I'm back here, what we actually were awarded for FY20. And then there's a comparison, because I know everybody always asks, well, what did we get last year? So we did get a little bit more for behavioral health. And when we write those grants, we kind of shoot for the moon, write them big, and then we'll see, what we can get. I was very disappointed, though. There was a trauma piece of programming that they did not fund, and it was only $15,000, and we really thought that would have been just really beneficial to offenders. However, we were able to buy the curriculum, some of the books out of FY19 money, so we're going to do a piece of it in 20, not the full thing that we were planning to do. But anyway, I wanted you to see that we ended up getting that $78,000 for the behavioral health on the adult side.
Sorry, I meant to turn that down, so.
Says battery low, must be,
Yeah. Let me just take it out of here. I'm gonna turn it down. Okay. And then it rings upstairs, so.
So anyway, those are the dollar figures that we're working with for FY20, and but like I say, we're very happy with what we got for behavioral health. Some districts don't even get that, so we're very fortunate. And then we did get a little more on the juvenile side. So anyway, I kind of jumped in here with two things. The funding allocation comparison, just wanted you to know that since I was here today to share that with you. And then also asking for approval of this FY19 program report.
how do they determine, you have 75%, you said, have to get a 75%
Success.
completion rate?
Right.
Who determines
The
that?
Department of Corrections, okay, for success rate, if they are revoked and they go to prison, they actually go through the doors at prison and they stay there and serve their sentence, that is unsuccessful. But like if they go back to court and they violate their probation, but they're not revoked or they're released unsuccessful from probation, those do not count against us. It's just if they're incarcerated. So,
Okay.
So it's a recidivism score.
pardon?
It's a recidivism score.
Right.
And all these programs you guys have, you think they're beneficial? To help
Well,
sometimes, huh?
not all of them complete them, but we feel like we've seen some gains with some offenders. There's a lot of different programming out there, but some of it we just can't do because they're in a group setting, and we have a really hard time running groups because we've got 6 counties and offenders are spread. And a lot of the groups have to have 2 facilitators, you have to have so many people in your group, and we just have a difficult time doing that with our rural multi-county districts. So
Okay.
that's why the interactive journals are good, because those are individual, with the probation officer and the offender, one-on-one.
Okay.
And those were new last year.
Are those actually written journals, minutes that somebody writes, the probation officer takes notes, or
Well, the offender actually writes in the
he
journal.
writes a journal?
Yeah. And we bought those we purchased those for FY20 for our juvenile population as well. We started with the adult, and the officers really liked them. And so we expanded that to start this year. We haven't yet, but to start this year with our juvenile population. Our juvenile numbers are very low.
So you need us to prove
Did
that.
you have a breakdown by county?
I-
Or how do you report that by county for,
By by
Well,
county,
you have
what,
like
how
a
many?
you have a total expenditure, do you have a, like, what has been allocated
Oh, on the
through,
money, okay.
to each county? Like, where
No,
does
it's
Lincoln?
not, well, our money comes in for the 12th judicial district for all 6 counties.
Mhm. So
that-
do you have a breakdown as to where it's been spent, how it's been administratively used per county? I mean, how do we know what utilization
Okay.
Lincoln is getting out of that particular program?
Okay, well, we serve all offenders that are placed on probation in Lincoln County, so I don't have the number of offenders for you, and I don't have a dollar amount that just went to Lincoln County, because I have one officer that works multiple counties.
I guess, I just wanna know where.
Yeah, and we have an advisory board that approves all of our budgets.
I know,
Okay.
but
I don't have a dollar amount, how much Lincoln County got, no, I
Right.
don't. I don't even know
Right.
how I would figure that. Because we have.
or how
off-
many people, it basically comes down to per capita head. If
Right.
you're saying, Lincoln had 20
Well,
people
county,
this year.
county attorney would have information on that,
Well,
right?
and the.
Since she's, working with all these
Right, and she's on
people.
our board, and the clerk of the district court would have the number of case
Yeah, the case
filings.
files. Based on the cases, then you could probably get down to the
Right,
dollar amount.
Right, I mean, I can tell you how many people we supervise in Lincoln County, but that varies, it
Yeah.
changes constantly too.
Okay,
And then we have
Well, it'd be
cases
nice
that are
to know that
transferred
number
in.
comparative to the population. I mean, do we have a high percentage of people
Mhm.
compared to our population? Because of these counties, we are
Right.
the smallest populace.
Right.
For sure,
Right,
by a long shot.
yeah, I don't have those numbers, I'm sorry.
so you need us to, Alexis, to sign this today?
I just need, I need you to approve the FY19 program, the year-end report, the program year-end report. And then, like I say, this funding allocation, that was just for your information. There's nothing to vote on there. I just wanted you to know what our allocations ended up being after they approved the grants.
I move that the Board of County Commissioners review and approve the attached year-end outcome report as indicated by the signature of the chairman.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded.
I just quoted the stuff on the.
Alexa, I
Any,
have this one, so that we're all on the same page.
okay, any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Dawn, did you want a copy of what they signed, or you got the whole packet?
Yeah, as long as I have.
Yeah,
Mm,
you got the whole
Dennis.
thing, yeah. Okay,
Oh,
thank you very much, I appreciate
Yeah.
your time.
thank you. Do we wanna deal with that Dennis?
I think we should have him do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dennis does great work. I've
Yeah.
well,
seen
and
a
it's
lot of
under
his
the
stuff.
dollar amount that
Yeah.
we need to bid out, so if this was his bid, I
Yeah.
don't know who else would
Yeah.
have, that it was last year, so,
We approve that.
okay.
Do we need to vote on it or
Okay,
not? You just sign it.
Um,
You just sign
We're
it, that's
under
I don't
fine.
money,
think
just
we need
go
to
for
vote
it.
on it.
That's fine, you sign it, right?
So the board approved Dennis Cross repairing the,
Yeah, Dennis Cross's bid, do you need a copy of this, Don, or,
yeah,
She
I
can
will-
keep it and
Yeah.
I will call.
here's the envelope for it.
You will
I will
contact
call.
Dennis? Okay.
It's his bid on that.
We need to move forward with this Schwab Eaton
Yeah,
job.
Well, we're gonna have to survey it in any case, but I hate to get too much money involved until we figure out it's really ours. I'm sure that's gonna be ours, but
yeah.
we need the county attorney to do her job and find out what we really own out there and what we don't.
Well,
But we ought to
Is
go
is it
ahead,
her job to do?
we ought to go ahead and approve that so they can get started on the evaluation, engineering.
I mean, it's
design.
that or assign another firm to do it. I mean, all they did was look at the spot and tell us what they want to do the job that we had asked to be done. So,
Before we can contract it out, we need to know if it's ours or not.
well, I think that was established.
I think it was established too before. I
It
know.
was just the formality of having our own new map produced.
And also, whatever we, like.
The liability falls on us ultimately. I mean,
Because of the culvert thing,
And there is paperwork that,
yeah.
that we have already, not we, but prior
Yeah.
boards
Prior
have
to
already
that, yeah.
accepted that as
That 90,
responsibility.
there was a 92 and a 99,
Agreement.
yeah, we saw in the paperwork before where the commission agreed to deal with roads up there, but it was kind of a
Well,
vague statement.
that's what I'm trying to do,
And-
unvague that stuff.
Well, and also that was the roads when they were talking about the roads back when they were doing it, there's one more roads added. Since then, are we responsible for them? I just wanna know what we're responsible for and what actually, 1.6 miles, you know, that one area.
I know it.
The loop, we just need to know what's ours and what isn't, because there's roads up there
It's
that.
basically additions that have happened over the
Yeah.
years that weren't on the original map.
Well, and that's, we
But
just need to see
The
that.
discussion came to head because we were saying if the public is using these roads to access certain, even if there is a portion that is deemed private because it was an addition,
Mhm.
when the public is accessing or has access to those roads, they ultimately make it our liability.
Yeah.
So we don't want to
I agree.
try to pinch a penny.
No, I
or,
agree,
you know,
we wanna do, it.
to
I just
spend
wanna
it
know
on-
But just
specifically
because-
what's a road, what
I
isn't a
know, we
road.
need a new
That's
map.
our
We need an
responsibility.
updated
We
map.
need a
Because,
map that shows our
Because the
responsibility.
public drives across a pasture doesn't make that a road.
Well, that's how that
But
started
if
up
they
there.
have public access
You
to
may
it, that's
have
different
to,
than,
you may have to provide him access to his house, but it may not be the road they have. They may have some uphill side road and there's a better engineering way to do that.
That's-
That's what we need to look at.
Yeah.
We do have responsibility to give them access to a road system,
Mhm.
but not necessarily the one that they follow that cow up the trail on.
And that's how they started. A lot of those homeowners built their own roads back then, and just the guys told us that. And now we've kind of been grandfathered in where since now it's a normal, it's a road, we have assumed, I think, the responsibility of maintaining it.
Well, I just wanna see the map.
Yeah, I do
wanna see
too.
it.
I do too. I wanna know specifically what we're responsible for. and
I
what
just
we
don't
don't.
think we can wait on the map to
No.
take action on the liability issue, which has been sitting there now for 2 months. and-
Which is your cave off place? Where the
Yeah, the
road?
landslide
The
in and
landslide
of
there.
itself is something that we're just,
Well, I agree, we ought to get. them
We
to
could
do
get
that.
going ahead on this then, if you want to.
I agree on that,
okay.
I do too.
but I still wanna
I-
see the ownership.
I would entertain a motion,
What can I look at over here?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't
Yeah.
really get to
Yeah.
review it too well here. How much it could cost up to 17,000,
Yeah.
and that's just,
Dawn, did you have a calculation for the mills?
It's on the budget, so
Oh, that you put.
when you get to that point, it's the very last page. Well, I think maybe the second to the last page.
exactly what are these guys gonna do for us here. They said here they have obtained the original Wilson Lake Estates plat to help establish the property line boundaries and
Yeah.
road right of way. So maybe they have the existing one, which is theirs, huh?
But, yeah, but see, they don't, I agree, they've received that, but I wanna review it and I wanna make sure
Yeah, no, I agree,
it's a
Jim.
good document.
I'd like to, the
That
original,
plat might be offset 20 feet, which makes a big difference.
it says here the original plat is somewhat rudimentary at best.
I understand.
Well, there we go, that's what I'm concerned about too.
That's why I wanna see an as-built, and we can, with the as-built, what's actually going on in the ground right now, we can figure out what we need to do.
It says right here, there will be a fair amount of effort required to establish property lines and road right-of-way from information that can be tracked down. We have done a survey in the area previously in the Russell County side of development, which will help keep the cost down. I think we should probably let them go ahead, cause I think we're,
Well, we need to talk to county attorney, cause we told her to let a bid out to do that very thing.
I emailed her.
okay. Well, I think so too, we should proceed with this. It's just, I agree with you, Jim, we need to know,
But we need to go ahead with that project, at least
Yeah.
get it started, cause
Yeah.
time's a wasted.
yeah. Yep. And that road is dangerous there, but I guess they have it blocked off or barricaded off. Did you want us to make a motion to proceed with this?
I think we should, the sooner we do it, the better for that particular project.
Okay, I'll make a motion to, I don't know, hire, or what we could say is to, have,
To sign the agreement.
to sign the,
Agreement.
sign the agreement with Schwab Eaton on the slide failure repair along Lake, Lane Court in the Wilson Lake Estates area.
That's the title of his email, or his.
Okay, I can add
Just-
that.
That's the title of the
Yeah,
issue here.
Okay.
it's his regarding.
What else should I add?
That's
to
it.
That's all you need,
Okay.
yep.
We know that it's not going to exceed 17,000, or
Yeah.
I'll second that, and it's not going to exceed $17,800.
And hopefully it'd be last 45 to 10,000 or something.
Right.
Well, yeah, we're liable for that road, so we need to deal with it.
We think we are.
Well,
According to what we've been disclosed
we think we
in,
are.
as
We think
information.
we are. That's a good way to put it.
Huh?
Take a vote.
Yes, call for the vote.
Aye.
Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Where is the agreement? I thought it was in here.
It was.
You got it?
This is the Terracon. Hold on. I may have just removed it. I mean, proposal for engineering services. Proposal may be accepted. Executing the attached agreement.
So
Well, here-
that one, they will
Here-
approve.
Oh, there, you have it.
Well, but we all had one of
This,
them.
Oh,
Did you have one?
the Terracon agreement, they will contract
that's
with
their
them.
sub.
Well, here is the
Yes.
original.
Yeah, that is, okay, that's
And
it.
you'll be
I
Did you
got it.
responsible
sign that,
for
Alexis?
theirs
Yeah. Oh, we
and
can all
theirs.
sign it, I guess.
Yeah.
Here it is. I thought we all had one of those.
I think they probably gave you two, or they should.
Well, I don't need one.
One for original, one for a signature.
I guess we all three signed.
Oh, here. 8 19.
19.
August. I will just say, because I hear some muttering there in the background, it has already been disclosed to us by our attorney that we are liable. So this isn't a debate as to whether or not we own the road. I mean, we are gonna carry liability for this issue. That's something that we have discussed that needs to be brought out into the public session, because there was all this questioning about, do we have to? We didn't want to barricade it because we didn't know if we entered onto the property. The fact that there was a private drive sign installed by an individual does not make it a private drive. It was on the county's obligation to go to that person and say, you may not have a sign here that says private drive. Just because it was
That-
posted as such
that
by
goes
an
with
individual
it, I
person
guess.
doesn't mean that it was ever a private drive. And this road that we're talking about, Lake Lane Court, is on the original map. It is documented that the commission accepted the proposal when they put the housing plan in. I mean, that part is no longer up in the air. As far as my understanding of our conversation with our own attorney. So
Yeah.
if you'd like to correct me, please
No.
do, but
I
just to
think,
put
no.
everyone at ease, this is
Yeah.
not just us deciding to take ownership of it. We were directed to understand that this is our liability. So it's either that or we fight it in court and say we don't want it anymore.
The state attorney general has rendered her opinion that it is ours.
Exactly. Yes, there's already an attorney general opinion, and that is the, I mean, what do we do? Ask for a second attorney general opinion? They're not gonna go against what the first one said.
We just want to know
No,
what's
it's
ours.
already been established. That's what I'm saying.
Can I get the envelope,
Yes.
and did that have anything else back in it?
Yeah, but I don't think we had 2 copies of that. Cause this is your tile, this is my stuff.
That's okay. I will make a copy of
This is from last week, all the budgets. This is the permit that we need to find out that needs to be signed once that job is done. This is the budget.
You want that back, I think.
Yes.
Okay, it says I've enclosed 3 agreements for
Here
your
is the
review and
second.
execution.
Oh, so I did hand you guys one. Do you have another one? I did hand them out,
There's-
because when I pulled them out, I handed them over.
This is yours. So here's at least another one.
Do you want 2 signed?
Sounds like we need 3, because I'm assuming they're sending to that Terracon. as well. So, do you have another copy?
I don't know, with all the
Randy,
paper
I
here,
think it's on,
maybe I do.
because
Like
I think
this.
the one I pulled out was the one in the envelope, because I kept one for me, that was in the envelope, and then I think I handed you another one. Check this pile.
Oh, God. We have too much paper.
I'm just glad we
Thought we
finally
were
have a
getting-
filing
thought we were
cabinet. It
getting-
will get organized here in the next.
Like we were getting a paperless society here, all these computers and stuff. Yeah, here it is, I do have the
Aha,
agreement.
okay, good.
You need
Wasn't me
it
this
signed
time,
too?
it's
Yes,
usually me.
please.
And then got 3 of them to sign?
Yep.
Wow.
That goes back to Dawn.
Feel like a professional baseball player here signing autographs.
We're celebrities.
There you go. Rock star.
Where's my $5 here?
More than 5. I've got autographs from them guys and they charge more than $5. Depends on who it is.
Okay. Did we get a response from our interview?
Yes and no. I just need to speak to you
In
in
executive session?
about
I
it.
would suggest we do that now before we continue on, so that we know where we're headed. I would request, I move to enter into executive session for 5 minutes for the purpose of discussing applications and interviews for the highway department pursuant to KSA 754319-2B number 1, personnel matters of non-elected personnel with the commission, and then the clerk, acting HR, to reconvene in the commission meeting room.
I'll second.
How long? 5 minutes?
5 minutes. It's been moved and seconded for 5-minute executive session to review applications and interview. Any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Yeah,
No,
we
but
gotta get-
advertising, I mean, we can get the ad out there.
We can do that, yeah.
I guess so.
Plus, we were supposed to advertise for the other positions.
Yeah.
So what's the next position?
Uh,
Is it still
Highway.
bridge foreman, or is it being called?
Bridge
It
was
would be-
taken out.
It would be supervisor.
Just highway department supervisor.
Yeah.
So do we have a job description for that?
Yes, we do, pretty much, and I think that was the title of the job description, was Highway Department Supervisor.
But that's part of the problem, is
What would his task be versus?
my suggestion was to have somebody dedicated to bridges
Yeah,
Mhm.
and let this other person oversee all the road projects.
I think Oregon could do both if we.
But we're gonna talk about what that means as far as someone on the ground.
yeah. But I think your job description that we had for Highway Department Supervisor pretty much encompasses what we want.
We don't have a highway department supervisor job description.
It's road and bridge supervisor.
Yeah, road
Was
and
the-
bridge, yeah.
That was
We just
the,
take the bridge out.
And then we had director of
so take
public
the bridge,
works.
so take the bridge portion away from
Yeah,
the road and bridge but that means we'd have to revise it.
Yes.
but not very much.
Well,
Well, okay, yeah. let's
But also
revise
we
it.
need to,
Let's
But that
revise
doesn't mean we can't put the ad in the paper,
Yeah.
because I can be working on the job description and have it
Yeah.
approved by the time we do any interviews.
but also we need to define what the director does and what the supervisor does.
Well, we have the
Different-
director on
different.
paper and
Yeah.
approved.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
The
but-
differences.
The differences, yes, because
Well,
last
one
time,
is subordinate to the other.
with our last director of public works and supervisor, there was always a little bit of an issue, who
Well, I
was in
didn't-
charge of what there, you know?
Agreed,
I
agreed.
think we had, didn't I give you a piece of paper, 3 X's on that to delete and change
Mhm.
that? And I think that pretty much ended where we wanted to go.
I have those job descriptions.
Okay. When then people come to pick up applications, they want to see a job description. So
Yeah.
Let me
can't
fix
wait.
it, I'll fix it before I leave today. Can you
Okay.
give me the stack on the top shelf on the right? Nope, one more shelf up.
Oh, top shelf.
Yep, all that stack.
I don't
That's
know I
my,
can do top
those are all
shelf
my
stuff.
job descriptions, okay.
I'm working in the top shelf.
Okay, so I'm gonna advertise
It's here.
for road supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
And do we have I know we probably do, and I should know this. but-
Because I think what we're heading for is this bridge crew foreman to be dedicated to the bridges.
Yeah.
And now what we're hoping is that some of that paperwork can pass through the director as far as getting the permits signed,
Yeah.
getting, you know,
He's
all the
gonna have to.
contracts
Some
signed.
of that's
Yes,
gotta go through.
he's gotta be
there.
responsible for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But as far as being on the ground with the site work, you
Yeah.
want that bridge supervisor
Yeah.
to be that person and coordinating where they're going next,
Yep.
Yeah,
prioritize the culverts and the different bridges. But what we're looking at for the road supervisor, are we gonna leave it road supervisor?
or highway department supervisor.
You basically have, the way we're talking of it, and we said though that if we did hire someone, we'd let them reorganize it, which we still can, but the way we're talking is director of the highway department, road supervisor, bridge supervisor, and the crews that then
Yeah.
follow underneath that. We're kinda talking about 3 different supervisory roles.
Well, 2 first now, right? We haven't talked about 3 yet.
Well, someone's gotta be in charge of the bridge crew,
Well, I think
and
that.
we don't have that, because
Well, I
that
think that could
person,
be the, highway
that-
department supervisor, couldn't it?
Well, you're gonna have 4 people in the bridge crew, a boss and 3 guys at work. They all 4 work, but the boss is out there on the ground. And he reports to his boss, who does all the paperwork and contracts and bidding and
which I think should be the
stuff.
director.
Exactly right.
But this other person that we're talking about would be supervising all the equipment
Yeah.
maintenance, all
Yeah.
all of the training,
Right.
I mean, ultimately doing it, not
Exactly.
supervising it. I
Yep.
mean, the director's still doing
The
that.
roads and the bridges.
So I think that's what we
Bridge-
got on
but
the
no,
bridge.
not the bridges. That's
But-
what I'm
The
saying.
bridge foreman, we have all that listed, I think, now, don't we? On our sheet, we have all that listed for the bridge guy to do.
The way it currently reads, without any of these edits, assist the road and bridge supervisor in the layout of the bridge, specifications for construction, supervises and assists the bridge crew in general construction and repair of county bridges and culverts, ensuring maintenance and performance of the crew. Responsible for new bridge construction, included but not limited to backhoe to dig footings, tying rebar mat, pouring concrete, tying rebar uprights for walls, setting and removing deck slab. Responsible for repairing and modifying existing county bridges, including repairing decks, walls, footings, fixing guardrails, removing and or replacing tiles, replacing low water bridges, ensures all equipment is operated efficiently and safely to perform bridge construction, ensures all new bridge construction is efficiently conducted and in accordance with specification, ensures all layout work is efficiently performed, reports bridge and culvert problems, and provides long-range bridge and culvert maintenance needs. Reports all supply, now see, this has them reporting to the office manager, I don't think that's
Well, you can
appropriate.
change that goes to the other guy.
Yeah,
But those are the boots on the ground things
this
we want
is
him
the
to do.
boots on the ground bridge crew foreman, is
Exactly.
what it was named,
Yep.
so. But we still have a confusion. My original suggestion was have someone dedicated to the bridges that is doing all of this and reports to the director.
Yep.
Well, then
And
what,
I was letting the director,
then what
at
happened?
that time, give directives to all of your blade men who are in turn responsible for their routes and reporting all the problems, and let him coordinate where the machinery is going or assigning specific tasks, in an area. What
So-
we're basically kind of talking about now, though, is someone who is
Well,
able.
I was thinking the other day, we were talking, we wanted our director, which is over
We have
everybody.
that,
And
yeah.
then maybe another person who would be a supervisor under that director, but can also do bridge crew, but also maybe help with the regular, gravel and graders and that, I thought maybe we just wanted to combine the
Well, I think-
supervisor over
well-
all that, and I don't know, and then would you, I don't know if we still want a bridge person to
What we were
manage it?
talking about is the fact that it's too much for one person to be boots on the ground and expected to oversee every bridge and culvert, also all the graveling projects.
But, well, that was for the director before.
That's what the road and bridge supervisor was doing, road and bridge supervision.
Right.
There are 2 culverts being replaced in this quadrant
Now you're
while
gonna-
they're re-graveling
Now
an
you're gonna have a
entire.
road guy and a bridge guy.
That's my
Yeah, that's the way
suggestion.
we got it, the bridge guy.
So you gotta have a director, a road guy, and a bridge guy?
Yeah.
We got a director, we got a director. That's
Yeah.
fine, I'm not arguing
Yeah,
that,
no,
I'm
that's-
just,
you
I'm just
will.
wanna know, is that what we wanna do?
Let me read, this is what we approved for the director.
Yeah, well,
Let
I
me
don't
read
need to
this.
approve all that, we know what we got, we got an ad out, what do we wanna do under the director? We gonna have a road and bridge, bridge guy, supervisor, and a road supervisor?
Yes.
2 supervisors and a director?
Well, and the director also
That'd be
gonna
two,
have to also
that'd be two
manage-
more management positions than not one, that's all I'm asking here.
Right, and my suggestion was just to have the director in charge of all the blade men, which is 10 routes. They should know everything that's going on in their route. Also be in charge of the bridge person who's doing all of these bridges. But what we were talking about is pulling in someone who has the equipment operation and maintenance experience to be hands-on with the training, with the
Yeah.
supervision on all of the equipment
Yeah.
operation. So wherever that equipment may be, which again, now we're talking about crossing back over with bridge and road. I'm not opposed to that. It was just my idea.
What do we call
just-
that person, that's
Right.
all I'm wondering.
And I'm
I'm
not
not agree,
opposed to
I
that
don't
because
disagree with you either, I agree with you here, I just don't know what we wanna call that and advertise for.
Well, you got the big boss, the road boss, and the bridge boss, and the office manager, and that's your top structure, and then
So you're
but
saying,
now
you-
we're technically adding a management position, but it has to be specified that that person,
Well-
whoever it is always,
but that management position has been over there, we've had it, except we just haven't had it.
well, before we had Bob and Michael, that was
Yeah,
it, really.
We had it, but it wasn't legitimized. In essence, we're doing that, obviously the job's getting done.
well, we kinda had one person doing all the paperwork and one
Yeah.
person doing all the groundwork.
Yeah,
That will not work. There are too many square miles and too many foot miles of road to cover for one
well,
person to
that's
do on
why
every
we
job.
fixed it by hiring a super boss and a road guy and a bridge guy and an office manager, and that's how we've.
So you're
solved it.
saying,
That's our-
so you're
that is
Jim,
our-
so you're saying we should have, her and I before we talked, before maybe you came on, we were thinking of having a director, which is what we got to add for now, and then maybe a bridge supervisor, and have the director, the highest director, be over maybe the gravel and grader guys. And then have the bridge supervisor be over most of the bridges. We only had two management people, and then the office manager, I don't,
Yeah.
so that's what we have now, are you,
You
promoting-
got-
are you
we got a
promoting the-
road guy?
yeah, are you promoting a road guy, a bridge guy, and an ultimate director over them all? And the
Yeah,
office
yeah,
manager is different.
Yeah,
So you would like to have two more management people, one road, one bridge?
you got a bridge guy now. You
No.
got 4 people on the bridge crew, and one of them was a bridge supervisor, that isn't gonna change.
We don't have one though.
Well,
We don't have
you
officially-
should have had one.
We don't have officially one.
But it was, you had a guy that was
The
doing the
person that
job.
was the bridge supervisor got bumped up to road and bridge supervisor.
Yeah.
So there you go. We're talking about one person dedicated to bridges
Yeah.
versus that person moving into a position where they're overseeing all
Yeah.
of the projects that are going on.
But it used to be that you had a bridge
Now we have-
supervisor, so
we
we're
have-
just legitimizing it and making a bridge supervisor. So that'll push the bridge, we don't have to worry about that anymore. But you got a bridge supervisor, his crew, and he does that stuff, and he supervises the big boss who does the paperwork electronics.
But we may need to say that the bridge supervisor ends up being one of the 3 on the crew.
Exactly.
not necessarily
Well,
a
4
fourth.
on the crew,
I
we
think
have
there
Well,
are
we only
3
have 2
on
of
the
them
Which,
bridge.
now, I
in any
think.
case, he
Right, I
works,
think
he's
there-
on the crew,
Or didn't we just have 3 people on bridge
Right
crew?
now, there's just 3, yes.
Three,
yeah.
Well, I don't,
And I'm sure at times they could choose more. It's,
in my opinion, since we have the director, where we're planning to, we don't have it hired yet. If we do that, that could take over a lot of the, I was like- I was wanting to see the director and have one highway department supervisor. Supervisors could coordinate with the road and bridge guys, maybe have a lead guy there. Then also be over the gravel and the roads and with the grader guys. And then you'd have the director and the supervisor could coordinate what, duties and tasks, and they can help each other. The director guy can come down and help with a little, supervisor can help do a little paperwork, everybody can help everybody else, that's what they're doing anyway.
That's kind of the way we got it set up.
But we
But
have
they
to
said-
keep our budget in mind, which
Yeah.
was set
But
for
now-
a certain amount of
In
personnel.
other words, I
at a
would-
cer-
If you hire 2 supervisors at the salary we're talking about, the first one we have programmed in. The one that we're going to hire is already in our budget. The other one takes the place of 2 people, and that takes care of his pay. So he replaces 2 people by 1, so we're covered budgetarily. We got all those salaries covered.
I don't know if we really need a bridge supervisor.
We gotta have somebody in charge of that.
Well, we
Who
could,
are you gonna do? You don't want the road guy to do that. He's got enough to do with graders and dump trucks and all that other stuff.
well, that may be true.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest this. We have 10 blade operators, we have
Yep.
10 routes. I've been told repeatedly that every operator is in charge of his own route. That means they should be reporting on Mobile 311 what culverts need replaced, what culverts need cleaned out, what mile of road needs trees trimmed, and what mile of road needs gravel. Those are the basic issues, or what is washed out. If they have a place to report that, which in my opinion is the director,
That's right.
then the director is immediately over those 10 people. They don't need to double report. They don't need to report to the supervisor, who reports it to the director, who reports it to blah, blah, blah. Those 10 people can be directly under the director because they are in charge of their route. If they say, yes, I want gravel here, it's because we know they know their route. If they say, no, I don't need gravel here this year, it's because we know they know their route. And if we get complaints, then the director deals with them individually, the 10 routes. That covers the whole county.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to doing a project, when they are putting down gravel and all the truck drivers are showing up and all the operators are showing up, then you want that boots on the ground management. That, I believe, is where the supervisor comes into play, when the project is happening. But again, I don't necessarily know that we want someone to do all the bridge projects and all the road projects. I feel we should be in the position that we just saw. I requested gravel by one of my constituents for a new house. It was a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile. From what I gather, the guys that charged that and did that are the blade operators that partner up in that area.
Mhm.
There's no reason that can't
And
happen.
they coordinated with the gravel guys,
So the
and they got
director,
it hauled there.
right, so the director goes out and says, oh, has my stamp of approval, looks good. He doesn't need to be there all the time.
The micromanagement.
But the supervisor should be available to go on projects where we know there are issues, you know? For example, they wanna take a culvert out that goes north and south over here in my district, and they wanna put one in that goes catty-cornered from southwest to northeast. That would probably be something that should be looked at while it's in process, not just letting it happen and giving it a stamp of approval. They should look at it and make sure that they shot the grade correctly, everything, water's flowing downhill, the radiuses are shaved out appropriately, and do you see what I'm saying?
Well, that's the way it ought to work. The manager will let the people doing the job do their job until they need some help or they need to correct something. And as long as it works, if the blade operator can talk to the gravel guy and get gravel where he wants it, that's great. But the responsibility still resides with the supervisor.
So are you still thinking, Alexis, like months ago, before you were here, Jim, we decided to have a director over everything, which we're doing now, but then just have the bridge supervisor, and that's just those two management people? And because you was just saying, the graders and the gravel guys can report directly to the
Well, I
director,
guess this
to the
is what
director?
this is what I'm saying. I'll show you. Is one of the truck drivers currently the operator for the loader?
I don't know, maybe so. They go back and forth.
No, no.
Oh, they
He's
don't?
separate,
I
right?
think the
Doherty?
dozer operator goes in and,
Oh, okay.
And there's another one though. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
So what would you want?
This is kind of what I'm talking about. If all of the blade
Here.
guys are in charge of their own route, they don't need to double report. They can go straight to the director, and then the director says, okay, supervisor, get your payloader over to Elk Drive because they need this job done this week. And the supervisor says, well, I can't get there till Tuesday. Okay, fine. I'll let my blade guy know on that route that it's not coming until Tuesday. I don't think the blade guys need to double report. They need to call the shots. I need gravel here.
Who are these?
I need, those are the blades.
Blade guys,
We
okay.
have
And
10.
this supervisor's over bridge and truck drivers and operators and bulldozers and stuff.
Because these would be the people moving from project to project. He's a project supervisor. These guys don't necessarily always have a project
And
going
he's
on.
gonna
They
have to-
request a project
He's
to be
gonna
done.
have to coordinate with them though too. They all
Well,
work
it's
together.
the coordination. You assume that they're going to talk to each other. I'm just talking about a structure for supervision because
Well, that's where we're getting, yeah, so it's just, who should do what, whether like you got a director and what's the director do that the supervisor doesn't do, what the supervisor do that the director doesn't do. That's where I think we got an issue here.
well, and we're back to the job descriptions. So our old job description has the road and bridge supervisor just doing everything that the director does, and all it says is assists, 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 pretty much. I mean, that's, I'm
Yeah.
being very vague.
I know.
But see, approves leave time slips. We don't want our boots on the ground guy messing with that kind of paperwork. I feel like that's for the director. If someone comes in to the office and hands the office manager their vacation approval, when the office manager gets time, here, this guy wants to go on vacation July 4th, can you sign this? And that's up to the director. We don't need 2 layers of approval for
Yeah,
paperwork.
I agree
That's
with
what we've been having.
Yeah,
We don't need 2 different people doing all the evaluations, which is kind of what we're having. We need more responsibility to the person who's on the ground and more paperwork administrative responsibility to the person who runs the office with the office manager. And that's kind of between the 2 of them to figure out. The office manager is basically secretary to the director.
have we got an ad for office manager?
Well, we haven't put anything out yet because Dawn said we hadn't formally approved. We talked about an equipment operator, an office manager,
Well,
this open
well,
foreman.
that would, we need to get an office manager, ad out, obviously.
Open foreman, are you meaning road and bridge
Yeah.
person or?
Yeah, road and bridge supervisor. It's supervisor, whatever we want to name it. The director takes on the responsibility of all the administrative duties. It says they have to
And is
create
the ultimate,
cost
and
estimates.
is the ultimate boss over everybody.
Right, I mean, they're gonna do the coordinating.
He's the boss over the supervisor.
This is the person that talks to the engineer. This is the person that does the interviewing and the hiring and assigns training. It doesn't mean they're necessarily the person physically doing the training, because there is a lot of other stuff to do, but we want them to know what's going on. I
Okay,
mean,
that's fine. What are we gonna do about, for supervisor today, are we gonna give authority for highway department supervisor? And if it is, what's the job description?
right, here's the job description that we currently have.
You think that's good yet, or what, do you wanna change it?
Well, we had a couple changes that Mr. Gableman made, which I agree.
Are we still gonna call it road and bridge supervisor?
That's the debate right now. Are we,
Well, I think,
Taking the bridge out in the road,
just road supervisor?
yeah.
we also had a mechanic. It was office manager, road and bridge
Okay.
supervisor, mechanic, equipment operator.
Yeah, well, maybe we should concentrate though on, that office manager, we better get that one fixed. Because some of them other guys can help out in the shop.
Well, that's
really,
only
so.
2 weeks away that she said that she was gonna put in overtime to go over to the
She's
office.
doing it now already too.
Well, no, today is her last day.
Well, tomorrow then, she's starting with Jennifer full-time, right? I don't know.
I think technically last week would have been her last day.
Friday was her last day.
So, she's helping out, but we need to address that quick, because that's ain't gonna go on forever. And they got a lot of documentation in there, especially this FEMA stuff, so we can't let that fall through the cracks. So we need an office manager. So should we make a motion here to have Dawn, we have a job description for office manager?
We do.
That doesn't need to change, does it, or does it?
Maintains department records, maintains accurate records, maintains all state and federal license, assists with completing state bridge project paperwork, responsible for coding and tracking department accounts payable. Yeah, we can really fix this wording. Dawn, would you email me the PDF of this, office,
The PDF or the Word? Do you want
the
to
Word,
modify?
I'm
Okay.
sorry, yeah, so I can change it. Approves leave time. Schedules routine and emergency maintenance, compiles yearly inventory, maintains accurate inventory, serves as primary contact for the department to answer incoming radio and telephone. Oh, here's where you X'd out these. It wasn't on the road and bridge supervisor,
Yep.
it was this. Serves as primary contact, maintains gravel road records, and we're not gonna do budget, but nobody's gonna do
No.
budget for that. Assigns assists with maintaining active list of projects, yes, absolutely. And we're not gonna have the office manager give work assignments, that's gonna be up to
Yeah.
the director and the,
I think she did that, was required to do that when they were both absent.
Yeah, she's doing it now.
I think that's why that was in there.
okay, you have a question?
Years ago, when I worked for KU, when I gave them notice, the first thing that they told me was that I had to do a daily list of what my actual tasks were.
To give to the
Every
next person.
single day, what I did. so that my replacement would not be going in blind.
Yeah.
You
They had a
might-
checklist.
You might actually ask her to create when I first come in, I do X, I do Y, I do Z, and then I do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That way, there's
There's something to go in the handbook. Upon
Yeah.
resignation, turn in a daily task list. Okay, let's finish this. Assist with federal and state reports, assist with implementing one calls.
Those are auxiliary functions there,
Right,
yeah.
But-
Yeah,
I mean, that doesn't even necessarily need to be included. The people that are out there need to be doing it, I feel. Maintains education and safety records, yes. Serves as the dispatcher, yes. Meets with the county commissioners as needed. I mean, that
so
should,
she wouldn't do that.
that would be in the absence of,
You're never gonna have both other people gone.
attends and participates in training, education, assists, assist other county departments, assist with emergency preparedness, may be required to work overtime in emergencies, and perform other duties as deemed necessary or assigned. I can just edit that
Well, no,
quickly.
you added it.
Yeah.
And then we need to,
I will have them edited today. I think we can go ahead and approve the ad, and I will have this edited. Now, the big one that we need to edit is this road and bridge supervisor. Here's the copy to look
should we
at.
make a motion for that ad?
I think we're gonna add them all together. I think we're gonna advertise
All of them in
for a
one chunk?
mechanic,
Lost pack.
an operator,
This you
an
changed
office
this one?
manager.
This is the one you.
Read that one here as you can follow along. Supervises road and bridge maintenance, supervises road and bridge construction, assist with the interviewing. See, I don't know that we,
Well, you may have him
I
deal
mean,
with the director.
but that's where an HR person really comes in handy to help the director do the interviewing. Assist with state, what I'm saying is we have an EMS department with quite a large budget also. Is there a particular EMT that's assisting the director in the hiring? Not that I know of.
Yeah,
I mean, that's where the HR person comes in and assists with the interview. So
alright,
I'm just trying to mark these off. Assists with state bridge projects, provides leadership and training for department personnel, prepares daily work assignments. I think that's key. Inspects roads, bridges, culverts, and signs, serves as department safety officer, assists with maintaining accurate inventory. Now see, I think that's the office manager's job.
well, this person maybe could coordinate with the office manager.
Well, it says
Be-
assist office manager with maintenance records. I mean, I think that's kind of a given, but.
It's just with maintaining accurate inventory. Yeah, but the highway department guy's gonna be out in the field and out in the yard, knowing, well, this truck's here and that's there, so he'll have that raw information to give to the
Here's
office
where
manager.
I would like to see some
You
big
gotta
changes.
have that coordination.
This is where I'd like to see some big changes. It says assist with developing and maintaining special project list. In my personal opinion, it's execute the project list. Because if the project list is coming from the director, someone needs to execute it. And I think that's this person's job. To create the plan and to make sure that the plan is on track is the director's job. To be there and finish the project.
But assist just means I think they're working together and discussing it, you know?
But
That's
the word
that happens
execute-
in real life. You're talking it over, we're talking among each other. Everything isn't that rigid of your job's only this and not only that, and your job's only this and not only that, you know? Everything's gotta be cross-working.
But you're talking about two different things. One person's making the plan, the other person's following the plan. We don't want two people making the plan. That's where you get what we had last time,
But-
which is he wants to do this project and I wanna do this project, so we're fighting over where the bulldozer
Yeah, but the
goes.
director may ask the manager for assistance on the
He
develop,
can
doing
do
this
that.
stuff.
You don't have to write that out.
Yeah, well, that's all I'm saying.
What we're doing is we're holding them accountable, and I would say executing the plan is your job.
Yep.
And if the director says he wouldn't execute the plan I had in place, then he's gone. I mean, you don't fight back and
The
forth,
guy on
well,
the
I wanted
ground
to do
will
this
come
one
in and say,
first.
"That's
Well,
a done plan, you can't do that."
whatever, I think
Yeah.
we're arguing over, trivial
Run on
words
time.
here, doesn't matter that much.
Email address.
Mine?
Yeah.
S?
No, go ahead.
No, it's my
I'm
last
listening,
name,
yes.
BFLUGH dot A
Doesn't matter.
at Gmail, sorry, yeah.
That's okay, I wasn't finding it. I'm mailing it from the mail
Okay.
server, so it's not got my address.
Assigns tasks and monitors work quality, yes. Supervises road and bridge projects. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe we need someone to be supervising them both. I just really feel like the bridge crew is always on the ground with the bridges, that needs to be their main focus. This person is more of I would call them a project manager, I don't know. you think about that. And then assist with preparation of annual budget. I really think the budget needs to come from the director, and this person just gives their input to the director as they see needs arise. I really don't think they are mandatorily creating a budget. It's the director's job to present us the budget, period. Because we need one person to say, why did you increase your culvert number from 30 to 50,000? If this guy told him to, then he says, well, he has a plan. He's gonna spend $50,000 on culverts next year, and I agree. End of discussion. Instead of, well, we never know when one's gonna come up. I mean, you don't, but there still has to be a plan. I think the one year I calculated, we only did 17 culverts. So that means the road and bridge people were doing something else significant with their time. Or I should say bridge crew, not road and crew. This person can make one calls. They can assist with long-term goals, yes. Locates gravel pits, yes. Ensures quality of gravel. This is all hands-on. Attends and participates training, yes.
Yeah, it's just hands-on stuff, which is what we want.
Okay, now this provides Board of County Commissioners with monthly update. I would say no. I would say that's the director's job.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, provides follow-up to citizen inquiries. I would say yes. They're the ones out there, and they
Should that be their job or the director's job?
I don't think the director can make it. I mean, if you're on site as this
Yeah.
supervisory role, you're going to be possibly talking with the landowner.
Yeah, you have direct information. That's fine, yeah, I believe that.
I think the other two are fine, as other duties
Yeah,
as necessary. Are we kinda good with that?
Yeah,
Yep.
Are we going to omit, I think at this point we can't omit overseeing bridge projects, but I still believe that we should stress that the bridge project should
well,
be.
you know what, we could always have a supervisor over both. And then the supervisor could appoint, say, a lead employee as
I
a
think that's the
boss
bridge
over
crew
the,
foreman.
as a bridge crew foreman, yeah. Why can't we have the supervisor over both, and then he'll appoint, or with the director can appoint it with the supervisor, says, we're gonna make Joe the foreman, because he knows been over 4 people, because there's only 4 people there now, and if we hire, so it ain't like you got 20 people there, you need another.
Would you mind if I added in this description that this person serves as a project manager, which means when there's
That's
a
fine.
project going on, that
That's
they are
fine.
to.
Sure,
Okay, and I'll just add
project
that.
manager, yeah, that's
That's the
what they're
number
called.
2 guy or the number
This is
1?
the number 2 guy,
2 guys.
under the director.
Because they're
The
gonna
director's gonna handle computer, paperwork,
be,
all
director's,
employee administrative.
director's
that-
gonna be the overview over all of it. The supervisor's gonna more hands-on and deal with day-to-day issues with the real project manager, yeah, they're involved in it in detail. I agree, that's good.
And I'm still gonna
project
say,
manager.
I do see that there was an issue having someone do that where they were trying to coordinate each last culvert that went in, plus who was gonna get gravel and who was gonna haul it, and there is
But
a
don't-
miscommunication, but that's probably up to our own director to decide, which in the past, there was a discrepancy. I mean, we had a write-up over a person who was instructed to do one thing by by one supervisory personnel, and the other person wrote him up for doing it, so we can't have that anymore.
Well, now they need to, the bosses need to coordinate among themselves on that stuff.
Which is why I was
You know,
trying
it's
to
not
create a
illegal.
better,
It's not illegal for them to talk to each other and do a little coordination among themselves.
absolutely,
We
okay.
don't have such a rigid system here where they can't talk with this and that.
I'm going to update these.
All right,
I think I have.
And you're still gonna give the blade guy to the super boss?
That's my opinion.
That's half of the employees.
That's my opinion, that it should be that way.
well, I think it'd be okay.
Because unless they're in a project, why should they be responding to the road and bridge
But a lot of
guys
times the grader guys do work with the bridge people.
when
and
they're
stuff.
having a project?
Yeah, yeah, and which they do.
But if I was the director and I said, hey, if you don't have any roads that need immediately bladed, I need you to jump on with the tree crew, then the director should be
Well,
doing
you know,
that.
initially, we could do it this way, like you saying, director over the grader guys, and say in a year or so, we get down the road, and the director and supervisor come to us and saying, hey, you know, maybe we could, we're recommending this maybe would
Oh,
work better.
absolutely.
Then we could say, yeah, that's fine, as long, you know, they're gonna have to.
All
work
I'm
around
saying
it,
is
so.
that there were no reports given to me at this table over the past 2.5 years that indicated that we had any plan. The planning needs to come from the director.
Yeah.
The execution of the plan needs to happen by someone else who is.
By the rest of the workers, all of them. Supervisor in charge.
Right.
But I think we're worried about the bridge guy. I think that we should have a supervisor again, and then a bridge, and have a bridge, maybe the director and the supervisor appoint a bridge foreman, like you just said. They could be like a management person, but
But I
not
think
official.
that was one of the advertisements for that position.
Bridge foreman,
Well, yes,
Well,
because
that would be okay, bridge foreman. I don't know if we already have some guys out there, been there a long time, they would qualify as a foreman now. Like when we went to the lunch the other day,
So maybe
that
we
one
don't-
guy is real knowledgeable, he's been handling it all now.
So let's not advertise for that position at this time, let's get the
No.
director in there and see if they wanna move anyone around.
Yeah,
Then let him tell us who else they wanna advertise.
Right.
But we still need to put out for an equipment operator, I believe.
okay.
Okay, so we are back to office manager, equipment operator, truck driver, and mechanic.
And supervisor.
And,
Yeah,
yeah,
there goes the 5 positions, though.
Well, do we need all those
We need to
employees?
recalculate the budget.
Do we need all them employees,
well,
or
you're
can
down
we do
7
with that?
employees.
Oh, okay, I was, okay.
Do we need all those, or can we combine?
Then yes, no, let's do what Dawn just
Because you
said.
have,
Mechanic, equipment operator, bridge crew foreman, well, bridge crew,
I wasn't doing that one. I had office manager, equipment operator, truck driver, mechanic, and road supervisor. Cause you would have been down Bob,
Yeah.
Jesse,
Michael, a
Trent,
mechanic,
Trent,
Michael,
truck driver.
Colton.
Colton. And if, one
Well,
guy's,
Mr. Ward's
Ward's
leaving.
retired,
Is
just,
Mr. Yeah.
Mike
Okay,
Ward's
okay,
retired.
so we're gonna leave that undone since they filled the blade spot, and we'll just go with that.
Let's go with these
Okay.
and then see what happens.
So I move to approve advertising for the following highway department positions. Office manager. Equipment operator. Mechanic. Are we going to leave it named road and bridge supervisor?
I'll just call them road supervisor, take the bridge.
Okay, road supervisor.
And truck driver.
And truck driver.
I will second that motion. And you have all those developed today.
I will.
You said.
I will finish. These 2 is what we amended, and I will make this phone call. Who else did I say I would call? Mr. Cross. Any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I really would like to do something about HR and put that high on the priority list to get somebody hired for that.
So I'm just going to disclose that we had interviewed a candidate once who was willing to do both HR and emergency management.
Yep.
I don't even know if that would be on the table, but it's something to think about.
Well, I kinda like the idea of contracting it out with a neighboring county.
So I did follow up on that. Saline County said we are not progressive enough for them to want to take us on. We don't have the type of comprehensive planning that they implement in their county, which they have 50,000 people. I did speak to Ottawa County, and their full-time emergency manager also oversees all the road signs and keeps track of all the 911 signs and has additional obligations to her job. That's the head of that Homeland Regional Security. I also talked to Mr. Enfield, said that they contract theirs and their budget's about 30,000, and they put that in, and then they have one who shares with 3 counties out there, that's out west. And then I spoke to Cloud County. Now Cloud County is significantly bigger than Lincoln, you know, they have Concordia, and they had a part-time position that they're now looking to go full-time because they were not getting grants and they weren't seeing that all the ends were tied. And so I had suggested maybe we could look at what kind of contract exists with other counties who share, and maybe we would consider a contract with them, and I spoke to the chairperson, and he said he would bring that up today. So we're talking about this while they're talking about this.
Somebody brought this by the office last week. It is an agreement between 2 counties.
Awesome.
I'll think of who gave it to me, but
Okay.
Well, out of
Something
it,
that-
Russell and Ellsworth got one.
They share a person,
Yeah.
I mean, and they're, well, and
we
And I,
used
and
to
you know, and I
a
know
long
this,
time
I
ago.
met this
Yeah.
commissioner, Mr. Reinert at Russell County, I talked to him, I'm gonna call him and ask him how that works out and how that process works.
I was actually gonna try to email
I know
their
him,
guy
I've
and just
met
get him
him,
to send us the contract, so. we
I'm
can
gonna
see
call
it.
him, cause I had contact with him and,
And
Just to consult with how that works for them.
Osborne's a little smaller, and they're close by too, they're a neighboring county.
What's Mitchell County doing with it? They probably got their own, they're a bigger
So
county.
this says, whereas Coffee County has a full-time emergency manager, and whereas
Woodson County.
Woodson County is in need of emergency management services, it would be beneficial for both to share emergency management staff. And this was just done earlier this year. So there's another example of two counties combining. I really think it would help our budget right now. And while we're on this discussion, you know, there was a public display of distaste for the situation. And I think it was misconstrued. Basically, it was said that we had cut the emergency manager down to part-time. And that never happened. We had a personnel discussion in an executive session wherein we said, we would like you to add these additional responsibilities to your job. It did not change his job status or his pay. It was going to be an additional responsibility to justify the hours, because last year, before either of you were on the board, it was made aware that we were paying travel time for this particular employee from the house to the courthouse, and from the courthouse back to the house every day. When I had mentioned that, it was just basically said by the other board members, well, all that extra time that now that person is responsible for, they'll find something to do with it. Well, we found something to do with it, and that was to assist the highway department, because we're always being told that we're short-handed there. That all happened in executive session, and then after that executive session, some guy they named as Poncho or something like that asked me a question, and he said, we heard that the emergency manager is going to be part-time, and my response was, there's been no discussion of that. There was no public discussion of that. So I apologize if anyone felt that I was trying to be misleading. I did not ever make a motion or suggest that we were gonna turn the employee from a full-time to a part-time position. He was already employed, he was already making a certain salary. There was a discussion that there would be additional responsibilities. That employee self-terminated. The board did not release that employee. That all came about in a series of a few weeks. And again, I apologize if someone felt that I was supposed to disclose our private conversation in the public. And I didn't, I wouldn't, and I won't in the future. If there is a reprimand being done from the board to a supervisor or an employee or someone directly under our purview, that's supposed to happen in the executive session. It's not supposed to happen in public. So I would never have answered this question from the gallery saying, oh yes, we told him if he doesn't do this, this, and this, that there's no justification for his job. I didn't say that. I just said there's been no discussion. So now that this is an open discussion, I believe what we need to pursue is potentially a contract. I think other counties, it's been proven that they do it. It's working, things change, some counties are going more intense on this end. I believe our county, you know, there was some public discussion on the Facebook forum about who is responsible for some of these things. We have funded fire departments, not that they're paid, just funded by tax districts. We have a fully funded EMS where everyone is paid on 24/7 shift, and we have a fully funded sheriff's department where everyone is paid on 24/7. I understand that there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of other things that I don't even know about that go into a cumulative situation of a disaster. But, for example, the highway department is ultimately responsible for this FEMA paperwork. We requested that our emergency manager help the highway department. That was not necessarily a duty of the emergency manager. So unless we define
But he helped,
separate,
because he was knowledgeable. Other than-
and that's wonderful.
No,
I
it's
feel
good.
like that's great.
No, that's what helping Liz out was, said that too, and with David, and we got with Don on it, making sure it was done correctly, because some of it hadn't been coordinated with Don well, and I don't know if it still is.
But prior
we wanted to do
commissions,
that,
prior
that's all.
commissions to us had never made that position responsible for other duties.
Yeah.
And every other person that I've talked to in that position, unless they have a rather large county with a lot of things going on, you know, they have additional responsibilities. We did not terminate an employee for wanting to reduce it to a part-time job. I'm sorry, that is not what happened, that's what's being said, and I won't stand for that kind of misperception and
Rumor mongering.
it is rumor mongering, it really is. It's just a little movement that started to
Okay,
say that we've done that.
So we're gonna try to think about contracting now. you
I think that's the route that I would like to pursue.
That's fine, as long as we got somebody that functions for our county and does the job, that's
If you
fine.
wanna pursue someone who would do
I-
HR and emergency management, I would be open to that
No,
also.
I want an HR and a secretary to the BOCC,
I'm not opposed to that.
and I want a contract emergency
And
manager.
I think we should, have, right today, do a HR, have Dawn put an ad out for HR.
I really would like to do that immediately, but not sooner.
Well, we talked about in the budget last week of what to do,
Well, we
I
already have
talked
a
to-
job description. I think
Yeah.
it needs to be amended though, because
We've gotta
I
have
think
it.
we had payroll in there, and Dawn, you need to make a decision. Do you want payroll in your office?
I think if you hire an HR person, no, that person be responsible for payroll. I
Could we
think there
please-
is enough time that they can do that.
And could we
if they're
please
full-time.
then have it in the job description that after 1 quarter, which would be 4 months, or 3 months, that they will be then responsible for I don't want to ask that person to be responsible for payroll the first month, the second month, or the third
Well,
month.
Okay.
it'd be the first of the year now.
What if we,
But
I agree with her, a transition.
it takes time to learn
So,
that.
so what if we say that by the third month, or on the fourth
On the
month,
fourth
they
payroll.
will work in conjunction with me?
They will be independent asking you questions, but the
Okay.
first 3 you will be responsible for putting out the payroll.
But somebody has to train them how to do payroll, so
Well, that's you.
I know, but if you're having them not do payroll for the first 3 months, then you can't expect them to do it
Yeah.
on
No,
the fourth
no,
month.
I'm sorry, you misunderstood.
Okay.
I meant, we're not going to judge this person on their abilities until they've done their first payroll, which is on month 4. The first 3, you need to do it and train them.
Okay.
The 4th one, they need to do it and come and ask you questions.
Okay, because I did
Is that-
misunderstand, because I thought you meant give them 3 months to get accustomed to their job,
No.
and then we start.
No, payroll might need to be the first thing they learn.
Okay.
But it's only 1 month out of the
In
week,
other
out
words,
of the,
work with them
1
for-
week out of the month.
And that's where it's hard.
in other words, work with them for 3 months, and you're gonna slowly learn it, and then Alexis is saying by the 4th month, hopefully, they'll be able to do it on their
If
own.
they can't do it on the 4th month, we may have an issue.
Okay,
So I would like to tell that person up front, you're going to get 3 different payrolls, where you're going to observe who's doing it now, which is the clerk. You're going to be instructed by the clerk on what she's doing, show you how the input is, and we have a time clock now, so it's all kind of new.
Yeah.
If on the 4th month, they can't spearhead their own payroll week, and then come, and I expect them to have questions for you, I wouldn't expect myself to be able to just go in and do it, but that 4th month needs to be, the burden is on their shoulders, not on yours.
Okay.
And then the 5th month, they should have less questions, and so on and so
Well,
on.
obviously,
By
you-
6 months, you really shouldn't have to answer any
The
questions.
longer you're here, the more you're gonna learn, but
Yeah.
obviously, there's a training
But last
period,
time, we didn't have any specifications, and
no requirements of,
Right.
of
so when that person,
responsibility
when
requirements.
that person wasn't doing it independently by the 3rd month, which is by the time that the termination happened, or the person resigned, when that person wasn't doing it on the 3rd month, everyone was kind of up in arms, so it was very confusing. Let's just say the first 3 are still gonna be your responsibility, please. If you'd agree to that, then we'll say from there on, they should be shouldering the responsibility and maybe having questions for you, as would happen maybe even for a year, certain things come up.
Sure, everything's something gonna happen.
And I think the first point of order is that we assign them to a specific training. And I had a couple resources that I had passed on to you, and I can still find.
I'd say I still have some flyers now.
They need to do, in the first 3 months, they need to complete at least 2 different training seminars to get
So-
up to
So do we
date.
have a job description now to put out for an HR ad right now, or do
We
you wanna
would just-
modify one?
We would have to modify it if you were gonna have them,
Did we vote on the ad?
no.
Okay, I'm gonna call for a vote.
Yeah, let's,
We
Well,
named-
maybe you did, I said motion carried, but,
Oh,
for the highway department people?
maybe we did.
Yeah.
I was just,
you did,
okay,
you did.
okay.
If not, you can do the
No,
end.
we did vote that, because that's when I changed the subject to HR.
Okay, oh yes,
So-
yes, that's an addition too.
So the HR job description, if you want him to be your secretary, would need to include such
Yes.
language to do that.
Can
yeah,
you please email me the,
HR,
yes.
okay,
and add in Board of County Commission Secretary too.
Okay.
And whatever other things that you can.
Okay, I
put
need-
belongs to that.
Dawn, I
Okay.
need the office manager, which you were
Right.
gonna send, then I need road and bridge supervisor and HR. And I will edit those today and have them back to you by first thing in the morning, so if we could just approve that we're going to advertise them, once she gets the revised version, she can send them.
We've reviewed what we talked about, we can approve them now, and you can just go ahead with them, you don't need us to approve them again after you review.
No, you already approved
Yeah,
what I have written,
right.
I was just gonna add a little
Just
bit of
edit
a
them,
description.
edit them to what we said, and then we could go forward.
Would it be reasonable reasonable for you to be the interviewee on HR
Yes,
Yes.
preliminarily?
yes, because she's doing the job,
Yeah.
she knows what it takes. You know, that's just common sense, in my
As far as
opinion.
I'm concerned, you can make a decision and ask our blessing, but I don't think. we
Well,
need
Don,
to.
yeah, Don's done it forever and knows what needs to be done, you know, she's a perfect interviewer. I don't know, I mean, I can interview, but how would I know what they need to do? I don't know what's going on there.
Okay.
I mean, we wanna interview them, but you'd be, I'm gonna take a break too. Too much coffee early.
All right, we'll make some decisions while you're gone.
Okay,
You have
go
your
right
proxy
ahead.
here?
Sounds good.
Is that fine from the resource officer?
I'd put as much in that HR as you can. Are you acquainted with the book Don Quixote?
I read it in high school. I remember that. I
I'm
couldn't tell
going
you.
to give you a copy one of these days, because the lesson from that is you need to know which windmills to fight and which to leave the hell alone. And I have periodically given that to people. And I will also give you a little homily. Do not try to teach a pig to sing. It only annoys the pig and wastes your time.
Yeah. That one applies to her more than tilting at useless windmills, because you don't know actually the entire backstory for her.
Well, no, don't ever discuss a backstory, Mona. That's one thing I've learned. If you ever try to bring up a backstory, shame on you, because no one wants to know how you got to where you are, just where you're going, without any plan from beginning to end. Make promises,
Because-
whether you can keep them or
because-
not, whether your record
Because before I
says.
actually ever met her, people were telling me what a vile and despicable person and just outright mean and stupid she was. And these are people that didn't even necessarily have ever met her, so.
If you like to sing, you can't help but want the pigs to sing too.
That's true. However, I remind you, if you want to clear a basketball gymnasium of people, you just ask me to sing.
Well, here's the thing. You have the correct tactic for a group that may have a little more versatility and diversity and less homogeneous status quo than what we're dealing with. There's a difference between dealing with a variety in a group versus a very homogeneous kind of one particular mindset, which is for good or for bad. I mean, I think it's a good thing when it comes to self-protection in a community, but you can also lose the idea of what that means when you're just fighting for a concept of which you have no idea what the background story is and no idea what the progressive goal is. I mean, if you don't, for some reason, what I'm finding is an opposition, a strong, stern opposition to spending less tax money. Period. I mean, that is the basis foundation for anything that has come before me as a person in the commission seat. Why would you ever want to spend less money? Because we're not going to be able to afford it. And that's just a factual thing. It has nothing to do with my personal opinion.
What are you talking about there? The budget?
No, what the opposition is to maybe tactics or criticisms of me personally and or what the board has done or is doing, you know, you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. It's awfully nice that the state can spend money that they don't have, that the federal government can continue to dig a debt. We have to collect money to spend. You'll only find that at the local government level. You won't.
In other words, we gotta be accountable, and they don't?
Well, we're actually balancing a budget.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and if we want to increase expenditures, it always comes back to the taxpayer directly.
You gotta raise taxes now, or
And
cut,
when you have
or
a
cut
farming
spending.
community that's supporting almost 2/3 of the taxes, I'll say it that way, because most people don't realize the ag land is one particular tax. Their residential tax they pay on their home is in addition to their ag land. So everybody that just pays on their residential home is not paying the same percentage as what the actual farmers are paying. So when you have a farming community that is in a downward trend to their economic cycle for their particular market, you're putting a real squeeze on that. And I've said before, if any of these pipelines pull out, we're looking at 1/3 cut right off the bat. That's not even, I mean, it's not even there's not even a question there. That's just factual. So 1/3 pipeline, 1/3 houses, 1/3 ag land. That's the dynamic that I think is not ever contemplated when you're talking about taxes and who's paying them. So we have 3,000 people, including elderly and babies, that are putting into the pot for a $6 million budget. You know, that's a little different than having an urban community where you have sales tax and everything else that's happening at a lot higher rate and collection rate. And I said it earlier today, I wonder still why Lincoln County has prided itself on being the biggest employer. I mean, outside of the school districts, which are also tax-paid positions, Lincoln County has been one of the largest employers. When you have a base for employees in your county that is larger collecting tax dollars than putting in, that's never going to work. It's never going to balance out. We can't pride ourselves on being the largest employer. I would rather see people make a lot more money who want to put in more hours than just paying 10 different people for 2 different jobs because they can all put in a minimum of 40 or a maximum of 40. It's an ideology that will only change over time. And some of it's only going to come down when there is no other choice. I mean, if we had 10 to 15 large landowners not pay their taxes for 1 year, there goes our budget right there. That's all that has to happen.
Well, I think people have to recognize that taxes are gonna go up every year because Lincoln County loses 4% of the population, which means 4% of the taxes go away. And we have to maintain a certain level of service, which means that your taxes are going to go up per capita by 4% every year, or you're gonna have to lose services. So that's the problem we have is, can we trade services for tax dollars? And I don't think we have many services left we can get rid of. Taxes are gonna go up, and I think everybody that pays taxes knows that. You know that if the county's getting smaller, the taxes are gonna go up, just the way it is.
We have a comment.
But the county isn't actually getting smaller, we still have the same amount of land, so if we lose a farmer out there, some other farmer's gonna buy that land, he's gonna pay taxes on that land. So you didn't really lose that land, you didn't really lose that tax.
Depends on who buys the land.
They'll still have to pay taxes.
But what I'm saying is, you're losing 4% of your people.
Population. And also we're getting more houses in Lincoln which are dilapidated and no vacant houses, and the valuation of that goes down. So that hurts us on that, property
So
prices.
your grocery store goes down. We now, for John Deere parts, we go to Beloit or Ellsworth because our population decreased or for whatever reason. And you're finding that,
Abatement was up.
yeah, your land property tax is gonna be constant, but everything else is going farther and farther
Yeah,
down
you
the
have
drain.
to cut the services and cut spending.
They never got an abatement since
Sometimes we
since
have.
I've been clerk, no. They moved because John Deere has this vision of where and how things were going to be in Lincoln. So they have their dealerships that are in a triangular area, and Lincoln didn't need that.
they did-
Okay,
Ellsworth
well then
does.
I apologize, cause I
But-
have said that before. I thought I was told they had an abatement. for
Well,
2
no,
years.
they did, it's territorial too.
John
It
Deere,
is, and
John
then
Deere and Case and all the major,
And the other
companies.
aspect was they had to build to a certain standard of their ability to be able to keep their, so Ellsworth was offering better tax incentives to,
So they
to
built
stay,
that,
but-
they built that brand new in Ellsworth?
Yeah, well, they wanted the territory too, south further, to go down to Great Bend and Lyons and that area, and Salina. When they're here at Lincoln, and Carico's right here at Lincoln, boy, that's the same big dealerships within 30-mile
They want
range.
50
They want to
miles.
spread that
They
out,
want 50
that's why they
miles.
went to Hayes. So part of it was because of territorial thing, not because they hated Lincoln necessarily, or taxes here necessarily.
they
It's to
took the
get-
one away from Salina too.
Yeah,
So
we
anyway,
gotta go
that's
to
beside,
the-
we have
Yeah.
strayed. Let's go back to, telling bad jokes or something.
well, we gotta go to taxes.
we need to kind of look at the budget.
Yeah,
and Make
budget.
sure that that is, okay to publish.
Is this what we've changed to with Jeff last
Yes.
week, right?
Yes. So I don't know if you want me to go through it, or if you just wanna review it.
Well, you could go.
I probably
Points
should
of
have
interest
emailed
to
it
the
to you guys.
public, we have, correct me if I'm wrong here, Dawn, but prior year actual for 2018, mill rate 107.5.
That would've been for 2018, and then 2019's is
102.15. So we're down in 2020
We're on
to,
page
I'm on
21.
page 21.
Okay.
Year 2020, 97.5. That is the calculated mill rate. Net expenditure,
Okay.
is that what, or should I go by
yes,
net
so
expenditure?
the actual was for 2018, that is the actual estimate for 2019, and then the proposed for 2020.
So actual expenditure in year 2018, 11,202,885. The following year, 2019. But is this based on 60% or 50% of the year? Or is that what the budget was?
That is based upon what you guys changed things to.
We changed things.
7,953,867. Proposed for 2020, 8,484,107. Excuse me.
And
What's the mill rate? The mill rate, 97.5. Assessed valuation went from 58,644 this year to 61,152 next year.
And that's just the estimate as of June. It may go up or it may go down in October, so you calculate your levy, final levy based upon the October value.
Revenue bonds last year, 5,395,000. Revenue bonds, well, that was 18. 19, revenue bonds, 5,105,000. What is the lease purchase principal? Does that mean?
If that's the total dollar amount that we have lease purchased, and so if you want to see what they are on the statement of indebtedness.
It's 33,000.
They are two fire trucks.
Okay.
We need a motion to present this for publication or approval.
Yes, and I will just say that after the publishing, we can't increase anything, we can decrease. So we can publish this, what is it, the 20,
It will go in this
3rd of
week's
September.
paper.
it'll go in this week.
And then the hearing will be 3rd of
3rd of
September.
Okay, so 2 weeks from Tuesday?
Well, it's a holiday on Monday.
Oh, okay, so 2 weeks from tomorrow would be the budget hearing, where we can make additional amendments in the way of decreasing, not increasing, or manipulating throughout the departments, but not the total number. We won't be able to increase the total number. So I
move we publish this budget for a hearing subsequently on the 3rd of September.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded to publish the budget that we did work on last Wednesday and a few times prior. Any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That will be in the paper.
Where do we do our, up in the courtroom, or?
It depends on how many people we have. If we don't have a full room, we don't have to move. But yes,
Okay.
if we have quite a few attendees, we can move to the courtroom.
And I think I said 10:30. I think I told you 10:30, but.
Can you, so maybe we wouldn't schedule anything before that?
Yes, and I did kind of forget about that, because we were gonna start not scheduling anything until 10:30.
That's okay. It's just because we see, some of the correspondence needs a little bit of discussion, so.
I just got a question on this. How come refuse went up so much?
Yeah, I noticed that too. Was that,
393,000 from
Well,
288.
remember you cut that carryover in the second
Oh.
column and you moved it to the outer column.
but that's
Okay.
because,
He didn't really go up, we just
We moved it from this
Moved,
year's expenses
yeah.
to next year.
So you had
No.
asked why it was lower, it's because they weren't gonna have the cash
That's
carryover.
right, we moved them, that's what, yeah, we moved the carryovers around. That's what's confusing to me on this one,
Well,
So-
and you forget where you did that sometimes.
yeah.
Cause originally, that reserved and future period was like 40-some thousand, and then it was 30-some thousand in the 2019 column, so they moved it around, and it just gives you the budget authority to spend everything that you need, should you have an emergency and need to do so.
From whatever's left over this year too.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, that's a different.
Alright. It's still confusing to me, God, this stuff. How you can do carryover and move money, spend less flat this year, which will lower like on benefits. That kept our benefits this year back
Right.
$100,000, and then that made it lower, so then we
Well,
met
that
our,
almost made
we
me
met-
want to do the self-funding, because with as much as we potentially carried over, the self-funding option seems like,
well, maybe we go there with PIC eventually here, right?
well, what we could do is take the unspent from what we budgeted this year, move it into that next column for the next year, and sign on for self-funding for 2021, and utilizing that additional money, that's what goes into your fund for the self-fund, then you can start off with some money in there, rather than trying to just accrue it with reduced rates, but it all depends on what comes back for our,
We'll see
our
it.
proposed,
We'll see how the PIC operates.
principal amounts.
We'll deal
Yeah.
with it. Anyway, yeah, it's confusing a little bit. Is that it? What else do we have to do here? Now we'll
So,
get.
under communication, or correspondence, pretty much.
I object to that whole thing
What's that?
that she's about to bring up. That's a dead dog.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. Well, but we do need to address the meal rate. I mean, are we going
We
to
can
change
do
that, or
that,
are we
but
gonna
that,
keep
that
it?
has nothing to do with this. We need to do that when we redo our handbook. And I agree that we probably ought to make some adjustments. I don't know.
oh, the meal rate and all that?
Yeah. But we could probably get the IRS values and use them, don't you think?
I will tell you this, it makes me very upset to get blamed for something that didn't actually occur.
Right,
So
which
that is
is happening.
happening, that,
Yeah. I know, and I recognize that, but again,
Okay.
you know. like
I understand
for the
what you're
fire,
saying.
We understand and we know.
I'm just providing you guys the facts, I
Well,
don't
we know
care if
your
you address
position
it or
on it.
not.
We've known that all along, and I don't think that's an issue anymore.
Maybe the part you're not seeing is that there's going to be a movement against the decision of the commission because the information was misrepresented.
That
So
We
it's
can't
just,
base anything we do on somebody else's erroneous information.
no, but I don't believe in not addressing it, me personally, but like you
Well-
said, you don't want me to teach pigs to sing, so
And I don't want you jousting windmills you don't have to.
I understand.
When we get ready to do the handbook, I would think that we probably could use the IRS allowance for meals. Is that not a fair standard?
Well, our cost
They
of
have
living
never
isn't
done
quite that
that.
high.
But you could,
Or
there isn't IRS doesn't have a standard, but they have like an area. So like if you were going to a meeting in the city, it could be a higher rate,
Yeah.
than what
Mhm.
it is here. So I guess, yes and no was your answer. Yes, you could do that. You could say that you'll pay them whatever the rate is, but you have to remember too, it's a daily rate. And I'll just give you a little bit of background history. We were like per meal,
Yeah.
and then a group of people talked the board into doing a per day amount. And I wanna say at the time it was a $25
So
per
that
day.
you could just have,
But what was happening was people were going down and spending $25 in one meal setting. I'll use for an example, we would have somebody go to KFC and pick up an entire meal for the $25 and
people.
bring it home and feed their families.
Mhm.
So what they decided to do, so it was kind of being abused, so what they decided to do was to go back to the breakout of the meal. Now you guys can do whatever you guys want to do, I don't really care. I don't turn it in partly because if it doesn't require an overnight stay, it gets added to your payroll and it's taxed on. There's no sense in me paying an increase in taxes and paying on capers for a meal, but others feel differently about that, so.
When we get to the and we'll have to think about.
Yeah,
that.
we'll think about that.
But, you know, the meal rate in Wichita is different from the meal rate here in town, and that's a recognized thing. And you're always gonna have people that will pack a lunch and charge you a bill, which is, you know, it's crooked, but people do that.
They'll abuse it.
Well, they
abuse the
have to
process.
present receipts.
Yeah.
They can't do that. They have to present a receipt. I will tell you that we did have one guy that liked to go to meetings, but he didn't really like eating out. So he asked the commissioners, so he was going to a week-long meeting, he said, could I just go to the grocery store and buy a box of cereal, some lunch meat, and some sandwiches? And that's what he did. And the commissioners approved it. And actually, that probably ended up being cheaper than, if
Paying by
he'd have
meal.
ate out 2 meals a day. But a lot of these meetings also pay for their lunches,
Yeah.
so.
And, yeah,
Those aren't charged to us, that's.
that's part of like,
somebody else's
Well, I know
money.
for the commission,
Yeah,
a
when we
lot
went
of
to
them have
commission.
like a dinner every day.
and breakfast, you go in
And
and breakfast.
breakfast, but
Yeah,
not
they have it.
lunch.
No,
But I've never charged separately to have a meal.
I never
always
charged.
just fill
Well-
in my meal.
Well, since I've only done it twice now,
Yeah.
I've never charged any bill for any meals.
Yeah, me neither.
Only with the hotel.
Because to me, it's one meal, or you skip it,
Well,
or
And part of the registration fee covers a lot of
covers the
that,
particular
yeah,
meal
so.
of the day, right?
And I
So how
figured,
much money are we dedicating for the training, which includes meals, versus are we gonna add on 3 meals on top of that? I mean, we can't go to all the trouble to figure that out, I don't think.
Now, I know Sean said that Saline counties, and we could get their policy and kind of see, but his county, or he said their handbook says that they will pay based upon the area that they're traveling to. So if they're in a higher, I can't think
Big
what he
city.
called it. Yes, but pretty much like
like Washington
metropolitan
or New
area.
York or LA,
Yeah.
it's a lot more expensive, they would pay a higher rate, you know.
And I know the IRS has tables for that.
I have a suggestion, why
Or
don't we
they
just
used
do a reimbursement policy only, which means they can't charge us for it, they have to pay for it, when they get back from their trip, we pay them back. That way they have to turn the receipt,
Yeah.
we know we know that they didn't buy 25 Happy Meals, or whatever, with their expense, and we just reimburse it for 2 meals a day.
Yeah, but we need to have a cap on that, otherwise you'd be eating Phil.
Yeah.
So much for breakfast, so much
But
for
so-
lunch, so much for.
Yeah.
That's how it is right now.
Yeah,
That, we don't read
well, that's
those
the way
meals
every business runs,
unless somebody
corporation,
specifically
So
comes and
because
asks
we
you.
did that for a particular position, we allowed them to charge it to us, then it wasn't under the rate that the county policy says. So then, when we asked for the reimbursement, it was for the full, that was where the discrepancy was. So
Yes.
really, it was the board's fault for pre-approving charging instead of just bringing back the receipts, cause then you would've just reimbursed up to that specific amount
Yeah.
on the
Yep.
receipt.
that'd be simple.
So it was really our fault, we should
And-
just leave it as is.
And we could raise our rates a little bit,
Yeah,
cause
you
they're
could
probably,
raise the
they're
rate
probably
and-
20 years old at rate.
Yeah.
We can make it a little higher for breakfast, a little higher for lunch, a little higher for supper, you know, and then, like you say, bring back your receipts and we'll reimburse you.
And let me tell you, like right, as the policy stands right now, the breakfast is only reimbursed if it's an overnight stay. So if they're
Oh.
going to a meeting, some meetings don't pay for breakfast for their people, some have continental breakfasts and
Right.
whatever. But it's only for people that are spending the night. So we're not gonna go, if you have to leave at 6 o'clock, we're not gonna pay your breakfast for you.
Yeah, that's fine. We could just do lunch and supper.
But I'll check and see, because I'm not sure the IRS prints those out anymore, since you can't write off your employee expenses anymore. They're not allowed deductions on the 1040 form anymore. So I don't know if they have that.
I don't
Okay.
do that. I don't do that.
I haven't
Okay.
done taxes for a while.
Let me do a quick recap, please. I am going to edit the 2 job descriptions you gave me permission to edit, send those back to Dawn tonight so she has them in the morning. And then we already approved the budget, that's going to be published. And we have ads out now for the highway department and HR. I'm going to call about, or interview,
Right,
and,
Okay, yeah.
and we signed the agreement to get Schwab Eaton moving on that
Yeah.
landslide.
You gonna do Dennis Cross,
you were gonna call them,
Dennis Cross, I'm going to call.
or you just approved it, didn't you?
2 calls you got to do.
We did. Okay, and this hopefully will stay until we get a new director to
Yep.
see if we wanna do
Yeah.
a different GPS program. If
Yeah.
we're getting more vehicles for less money, then I say we go for
Yeah,
it.
let's address
I
that
mean,
later.
yeah, but I'm gonna leave that on the table.
And I will get with Jesse Meyer about the bridge at the park,
Yeah, just a curiosity, it
Who's,
seems to be
who's
split.
responsible
Okay,
for
this
that?
is the
Is
biggest
that the
thing.
city or the
Yeah.
So
county?
these
That
two
probably
things
needs
are
to
for
be
the highway
fixed pretty
department.
soon. That's
Well,
kinda-
It's,
Can just keep
And if
looking.
yeah,
not,
it's
we
the
probably wanna
contract.
We
do
get a
this.
lot of traffic there too.
Yeah.
Well, we
Or
should
the
fix it
permit,
as
I
a
should
county,
call
I just
it.
don't know who's
Yeah,
responsible.
that's-
I'll ask with Jesse, or maybe I'll ask
That's a
RT.
county
He's been there
road.
forever.
Yeah, or one of them, but soon we find out whose that is and
And
we know
then-
what to
Right
do.
over here by the.
I don't think that,
On Main
does
Street,
the,
that's a
the
county
city
road.
doesn't have
Statute,
equipment
though,
to
that
fix
says
a
if the
bridge.
city
No.
owns
We
property
would have
on
to.
both
That's probably why
sides,
they
then
don't,
they.
that's probably
It's
why
not
they use
county
bridge
road,
to get
it's
the land.
to the
What
south
are
of
they?
it though.
The
Contract
cemetery
to
is
the county
city,
to
though.
do jobs like
Yeah,
that,
but
or
the
we just do it out of
But
goodness
it's
of our
a
heart?
junk,
You
it
always
doesn't
have to
matter, the
ask Jess
statute
to
is
see
pretty
how-
I will, I'll ask
pretty
her.
clear
That
that the
bridge
city didn't have.
design
Yeah,
wise,
any
you'd want some
It need-
sidewalk there.
No,
It needs
when
fixed,
Schwab
yeah.
Eaton
Yeah.
came
And it's
out
high traffic
and did
over
the
there.
strategic
Well, yeah.
planning deal, they
It's
said
got
that this.
truck
is
Yeah,
the
I'll-
county
yeah, that
road
needs to be
in
addressed.
cities.
And they
As it
got-
stands right now.
And it got really
it's a
washed
city
this year when we had
dedicated
that
road.
flood, that
There's a
water going
statute
through there,
that
ran out
says
2 feet
that
over that
If there's
thing.
land on
It
both
was a couple times
sides
a
and
year.
it's
Once
not
upon a time,
it's
a year or so
contiguous,
ago, they declared
that
that
it's the
sidewalk
cities,
bridge
and
next
that's
to
what
it
So
a
then-
traffic
and it
or a
goes like
safety
this.
hazard.
Yeah.
Because
Schwab
where the
Eaton-
Yeah.
Basically, the city
We need to
dedicated
address
the
that.
roads
We
and
need
they
to
have
take a
state
look at that.
responsibility.
I'll get with them. Yeah.
So
And the
talk to
reality
Jesse,
is,
he can
9
talk
times
about
out of 10 they have
Are we done?
That's
What else
not
about
what
this?
we're
Yeah.
I can't think of anything right now. You guys approved the 25 cents across the board.
Yeah,
So we budgeted in, just for the budget talk, we
for next
budgeted
year.
in longevity pay for
Yeah.
everyone,
Yeah.
including elected officials,
and the 50 cent.
and 50 cents.
Next year.
Right,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we
yeah.
need to put out a demand for how we're gonna do evaluations
Yes.
Yeah,
before we get into this last quarter of the year, because I don't wanna hear again how it wasn't done
Yep.
on time, or it wasn't done uniformly. We have the form, let's revise the
Yeah.
form.
we need to get department
I
heads.
say mid-September, we need to have a draft policy manual put
Well,
together.
let's put it on the agenda for, the week after the budget hearing, so.
It'll be the,
And also, we-
10th.
and also one more
Maybe
thing.
Ninth on a
Yeah.
Monday,
One
so
more
Dawn,
thing.
please put that on, give us an hour to discuss evaluations, because we need to get that
And
out
with the
before October
department heads,
first.
with the department heads, and have their
Well, we're
input.
not gonna have them that day, I
Okay.
will email them, we're
Okay.
getting an email. Dawn, what do I have to do to sign in on that webmail?
Okay, I sent you
The link, I'm on the link,
and then
that, okay.
Yeah, also, I was gonna, on the nursing home, have you, you had contacted that one K-Dad's woman and was giving you good information. Are we gonna, we better start getting,
So here's,
thinking about doing something there?
So here's what I see. I see that the only person that can save us is the county attorney. It's her lease, she made it. None of us on this board entered into that agreement. I voted against it. The county attorney is the only person who has the authority given by us to take this to task in the court of law. She's the only person who is really tied to this agreement. I didn't agree to it. I have a public statement in the newspaper that said I didn't feel that the lease protected us, which it obviously doesn't. So it's her lease. I believe that she needs to handle it, and I believe that this board needs to instruct her to get the past due rent. It's her job, and she by statute has to do what the board approves.
Well, that may be fine, but if we get into, say, a lawsuit,
Then
yeah, but what if our, we better think about the ramifications of, I still wanna keep the nursing home open, and that from May on, at least.
he cannot do anything unless he gives a 90-day notice to the state. He cannot move those people out or close that
Yeah,
facility
that may be
down.
true, but we need to be prepared how we're gonna transition to somebody else, and we're not prepared.
Well, we're still moving on that, and I will explain now in public session that the only way we're going to get these licenses changed over, and what I should say is get the current tenant off the license. The only way to get the current tenant off the license is to have a civil action in court.
Are you
Because-
sure about that?
Yes, I am.
Because, we wanna make sure that's
Because
correct.
what we do then is we
Legally.
report to the licensing agency that we are terminating the lease with the current tenant and we don't want them on the license anymore. And we ask the judge for provision that he roll over the provider numbers from Medicare and Medicaid to the building owner. That's that. It's that simple.
Can the county attorney refuse to file charges?
I don't know.
Yes, you can.
But we are instructing,
Well,
we can instruct as a board to
well,
do
you
that.
would have to impeach her from office and.
No,
You can't, that's.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I just want the board to give an instruction, because at this point, she's the only person that can save the situation. That's it. The commission cannot save this situation. It's out of our hands. This is a legal issue. We have a tenant who does not comply by the lease. We have allowed this lease to continue without compliance. We need to put our foot down. I've talked to the licensing agencies through the state and the federal government. If and when we are in litigation with our tenant, they have the power in the courts to turn over the information to us, and
Now,
that's all that we can do.
Would they assist us, the KDADs, assist us in transitioning to
Yes,
get a
because
new
at that
tenant,
po-
get
at
a
that
new tenant
point-
in there and all
yes,
that?
because at that point, it could become a receivership. At that point,
Because I care about keeping that nursing home open. No.
it's not going to close. The only
I
person
know,
who
I
says
know,
it's
I know it
gonna-
ain't gonna close,
Yeah.
but I don't wanna, I don't wanna see it be as messy as a mess. It's probably gonna be a mess, cause
But
I.
this is a landlord-tenant issue,
Yeah.
and we have to go to court. That's the bottom line. I mean, the only person that can save us is the county attorney. That's
Well, I
it.
don't know if you wanna put the word save us. She can act for us to do the legal transaction. That's, I don't know about this word save and stuff, Alexis.
Well, you're worried about saving the nursing home. I'm saying it's
I'm
not
worried about
closing.
just keeping it operational. But she's the one that has to have the legal authority to proceed,
Right, I
is
mean,
what you're
you
saying.
and I can't
Yeah.
walk upstairs and sign a piece of paper that says we are filing suit. The county attorney does that on behalf of the county.
Yeah, well, we
And
need
what we are
to,
doing it as the entity, which is the landlord. You take the person to task in civil court. Whether it's tied up in litigation or not, does not matter. The fact that it's being litigated justifies our request that we would like the license, the tenant who's currently being evicted to be removed from the license. Because what I found out is that Lincoln County is actually on the facility license. We don't have to be added to it, we're on it. The state lists the facility owner, so we're already listed. That was a big point of confusion that I just figured out. Second point of contention is that the provider number by Medicare and Medicaid, which is issued through the federal government, is attached to the person who's doing the billing, which is not us. So in order for that to be turned over, we have to say that we are terminating the lease with the current person who's collecting out of this building. They do not have the right to just move the people out of the building into a different facility. We own the facility, those people live there by choice. They are entering into that agreement with their own personal Medicare or Medicaid coverage. So what we're going to be requesting is our past due rent, and that the provider numbers be transferred to the owner of the facility. But when we do that, you're right, we need to have a management company on board.
well, yeah, that's all I'm asking. And I think what you're saying is,
None of
you've
this-
done a lot of research and that's great, thank you very much.
none of
But,
this
but
is
we,
gonna happen.
I just, yeah, we gotta know what steps to take in the correct order here. If we enter into all this, we got a procedure, we gotta start going down the road to do,
None of
that's
this
all.
is gonna happen overnight. As
No,
I recall
no.
from past actions, Grace Team Limited, or whoever's in charge over there now, has objected to the terms of our rental agreement and has indicated that he would provide a defense for us to terminate that lease. Is that not correct? Was that not a written document from him?
The document said that the reason that there was non-payment of rent is that during the renovation, he was unable to have access to certain rooms.
Right.
There was an agreement negotiated by the engineering firm that we hired to deal internally with the renovations and the facility administrators. That was between them, not, the commission never provided.
Did they get Lincoln Park Man or whoever signed that agreement? What I'm leading up to is just because we file suit to terminate the agreement doesn't mean it's gonna happen, because that's a defensible action. And I would presume that Lincoln Park Manor or Grace Team or whoever's going to enter into that litigation, and it's gonna be a long-term process.
That
But we
drags
also,
out.
but we also indicate to the state that the actual lease agreement, regardless of litigation over past due rent, et cetera, ends on May
Yep.
23rd. And we are intending to
Yep.
terminate that lease.
But
So
again, that's-
therefore, please remove this person from our license. I mean,
But
that's the
that's a
process.
defensible action too.
He
go to
can't
state
continue
fight
his
that.
lease there. It doesn't say it's automatically
No,
renewing.
he can object to the state terminating that in civil court.
No.
Yeah, he can too. The state can't come in and just do something arbitrarily without you giving a response.
he can't object to the termination of the lease when
He
the
could
terms
fi-
of the lease are over.
but
'Cause
he
that's
could-
why the lease was only
He
dated
could
for 3
fight the
years.
lawsuit that we're gonna bring.
He can
on.
fight against not paying the back
When
rent.
the lease is over in May of next year, yes, that's a whole different ballgame, but right now, terminating that lease or getting his license off and all those things is gonna be a tricky deal. Not tricky necessarily, but it's gonna be time consuming.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm just relaying the message
Yeah,
that
I
as
know.
it stands, we cannot write to the Secretary of KDADS and request that, which they're claiming they didn't get our letter.
And again, you know, time,
But,
these people
Because I did
waste
ask
more
about
time
that.
than we can.
but
Okay.
what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
as it stands, we cannot make a request to remove, right now, we have a legitimate lease. As far as anyone is concerned, it
To
hasn't
answer
been
your plan,
contested in
Or your
court.
question, we do have a plan to go forward. And so I think we ought to go forward with that plan, and that's to ask the county attorney to do what she needs to do to file that suit. And then we'll go from there. You know the steps, you talk to everybody, it's just a matter of
Yeah.
getting things going, but it's just not gonna be an overnight process.
no, no.
I move that the Board of County Commissioners instruct the Lincoln County Attorney to file civil suit against Lincoln Park Manor and Grace Team LLC to recover unpaid rents due for the county-owned nursing home facility.
In accordance with the lease executed between Lincoln County and,
Per the lease
yeah.
signed in 2017.
I shall second that motion.
And in the discussion portion, I would like to say, at this point, the county is unfortunately at a loss as to how much is even owed, because we were never given a census report, which was part of the lease agreement, that they would give a census report every month. So that is also a violation of the lease agreement on part of the tenant. We really, our payments are according to the census, which we don't have census records now, and there was also an agreement for an additional $400 a month for back rent that was owed by the previous operator of Lincoln Park Manor. So that's just my
But that's.
point of discussion.
So she got all that, she knows.
Well,
No, she sold
in
her
case she
business.
doesn't, huh?
She sold her business, so those debts.
No, we're
No,
talking
no,
about the county.
He's
county
saying
attorney.
she has all the records,
Oh.
which maybe not. So I'm just bringing
Yeah,
that up.
okay.
So, okay, it has been moved and seconded for the instruction to the county attorney. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
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 Motion carries. I would hope that because it's her own lease, that she has some insight on what, can be said or done within the parameters of the lease to bring it to the county's advantage. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, I wanna come back to another question about the county has to provide access to property. The county does not have to. If that property is landlocked, if you're saying you have to provide access to me, then I'm gonna be making an application. Because I got property that's landlocked and there's no roads to it.
So, you have to have access to it.
Well, then provide it to me.
Provide to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it
You
probably
go see
depends.
your attorney, because that's been tried a number of times in the Lincoln County courts. I can give you several cases
Well,
that
I
it
know
has
that.
been done.
I'm gonna go to Black.
But I have a question. Is it a parcel that was subdivided that used to have access and then subdivided it so that the internal portion doesn't have access? Because
Never was. It was bought and that was it.
by you, but I'm talking about in prior records, was it something where, you have a section and then someone subdivides an internal portion of that section without a road going to it?
An easement to it or something.
That wouldn't be the county's
What
responsibility.
is it,
That-
Norman? Is that, you got farm ground that's landlocked? Well, how did you get there before the farm?
Never went.
It's a timber,
It's still agricultural
Reserve.
land.
yeah, but it's still, it's a timber.
But, so you've never tilled it or farmed it or nothing, it's just, it's like pasture or something?
I've never went in there to till it, that's my choice.
I thought it was timber.
What's it recorded at the FSA? Is that farmland or is that pasture land or what?
I'd have to go back and look.
Well, that's part of the deal there, how that's recorded with what type of land it is. If it's like, farmland, pasture land, and then there's like waste designation. a lot of that may make a difference whether you could have access or not.
But it can be classified as agriculture because I can go in there and harvest the trees. Timber
Well,
harvesting is
I don't know if
harvesting.
that's, whatever, maybe you're right, I don't know all the details on that stuff. But so how many years have you been dealing with this? Years? A lot of-
Since,
He
probably,
inherited it.
So you never went back in there?
Yeah,
Drove-
he's been-
Well, you
So do you
drove
have an
back,
easement with the landowner?
you got an easement with the
Surrounding?
landowner or what, or the other landowners around it?
we have an understanding.
It's not on paper.
Well, that's like a verbal easement.
Yeah, and
So
he,
basically, you need to get yourself a paraglider, whatever they call it.
well,
It's wrong. Personal drone.
well, I mean, you're raising the point, but the adjacent landowners, they know of this agreement.
Well, historical agreements, like on Cape Cod, walking trails to the beach, cut through personal property, but because they've been doing it for generations.
It's like a grandfathered easement.
it
Called
is-
adverse possession.
Yeah, and you cannot tell people they can't walk across there to your yard because this has been part of it, and it's, millions of dollars have been spent fighting it, and they lose every time.
So what other points of order do we need to address?
I don't know anymore.
We have the
Haven't we done-
advertisements
Haven't we done
out.
enough damage to it?
You got 2 people to call.
I will make my calls.
Budget's approved.
I already sent the email to the Board of Homeland Security, and she replied already and said that we could temporarily appoint someone. I think we're not gonna do that momentarily, we'll see what happens. I am going to, if you have my permission, or if I have your permission, I'm going to go ahead and send the agreement that someone dropped off as an example to Cloud County. Anything else that we need to bring up before, because we're not gonna have an extra meeting this week, right?
No,
We don't.
I can't. Well,
That's
you
fine.
know,
That's-
The county attorney, she's gonna do the 2.
I will send her an email and let her know that we made that motion. And in fact, that'll be my first email from our new, it's under, so what, we tell people to email us at lccommission@lincolncoks.org.
Yes,
Okay.
and then you can check it from there, because there isn't gonna be any email addresses until
Okay.
she.
And I would prefer that that be
Can we
done
all-
for department heads and for internal workings. I think the constituents should still contact us individually, because I
Yeah,
don't, if they wanna.
that's fine. What,
It's
how
not that
can,
they can't
can
use
I
it,
get
but-
on that
Yes,
email too, or is that,
yes, but
but
my
not,
preference
not
is
at
that-
home though, I can't open it.
Well, you can open the web version of it if you want to.
my preference
I
is
don't
that
need
every
to.
Monday when we get
Yeah.
in here, we open it and we see what's there and we talk about it and respond
That's
to it
fine,
as correspondence.
yeah,
That way, it's, you know, if someone wants to send us a letter, we open it here. If someone wants to send us an email, we open it here. But
And al-
that,
and
otherwise,
also-
I've been using my personal one, which doesn't speak for all
and
of us.
also, like we said today, I don't know who's gonna do it, but you can, or well, there's somebody, was an update what we did today, maybe.
To the department
to
heads.
Send to the department heads, we did this, and
Right, so-
especially if it affects their department directly.
Right, and I need to
You
figure
know,
out how to put all
That
of
way
the
then
department-
we're having communication with all these people that have a complaint. that
Okay, and I would
they
like
don't
to
have
address
commu-
something. We did, in our session, tell Mr. Ellis that he's his own department.
Yes, we
So we need to address that,
Yeah.
because it was rebutted today.
did, yeah.
I'd say he's never been, the janitor has never been a department head,
Well,
so.
and maybe department head is the wrong word, but there was a discussion how there is lack of communication there. I mean,
Well, should he be treated as a department head for
well,
meetings?
he's not,
Maybe
he's
so,
not in
but
charge
he-
of other
But
employees.
he works directly for us, right?
Yes.
So,
Right,
so really,
but
there's-
technically, we should include,
he could be included, just like,
Now, what you could do is have your HR person be in charge of him
okay.
and
I
be
would
under him.
Pleased with that, put
Let-
that in, that would be great.
Maybe when we get an HR person, which,
take that off of our,
they could do that, that'd probably be a good idea.
When they originally put the courthouse together, you know, the county clerk had the inside and the treasurer had the outside. And I'm not sure that was ever rescinded.
what's that mean?
The treasurer had the inside and the clerk had the outside?
Or vice versa.
Of what? Of anybody who's working
The
in the
cat-
courthouse
no.
room?
Responsible for cleaning
Oh,
and maintenance
cleaning.
and mowing and all that stuff.
There you go, Dawn.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, over the years, I have been responsible for cleaning and I have scrubbed toilets. When we haven't had a janitor or when our janitor was on family medical leave or on vacation or whatever. And I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, that's what will happen every time somebody's gone. Now, they'll open the doors and they'll unlock the doors and turn on the lights. But you ask them to do much more than that and everybody throws a fit. I am not to say I'm too good to scrub a toilet, cause I will, but I will tell you,
That's not your
at
job.
some point in time, that's not my priority in my job.
Make your HR person in charge of a lot of that stuff.
And I will tell you, at one point in time, I would scrub the floors, and on Christmas Eve, I was scrubbing the floors for the muddy feet. And the commissioners asked me, what are you doing? I'm like, well, who else is supposed to do this?
I would do it for overtime pay.
Well, you didn't have a janitor then?
No?
Oh.
It's okay, I have to do it for no pay where I work, so.
I think we've got about everything done.
Are we out of here?
I am going, yes, I'm just going to compose our first email letting the county attorney know that we made that motion.
If you got a list of other stuff, I'd like to see it too sometime.
I just have to have time to work on it.
Is there a reason that the county attorney email isn't through the LincolnCountyKansas.org? It's NCK.
Yeah, it's nckcn.com. We used to all be nckcn.com. And then we
Everyone else
switched,
just changed and this
and
one didn't, okay.
I don't know if they didn't want to, or if it had been more complicated to change it.
How's our second person recycle? Is he recovering?
Oh, let's not discuss that in open session. Are we going to be without a second person? Are we going to still have a second person for a while, I think would be the.
I think we're going to be out for a while,
Okay. Do we need to
potentially
address that?
forever.
Do we need to address that with any help, or how do we wanna handle that?
Well, Ray was going to call Strut today because he needs some help lifting some boxes either up or down. They stack them to try to save room, but like with the chipboard, they have their own little thing, but basically they can't make an entire bale unless they have like 15 boxes of chipboard. He needed help. Basically what will happen is people will come in and they'll start filling the boxes that are on the floor. I think he needed help getting a box up and back so that they have room. Otherwise they don't have room down in the recycling center until the 15 boxes are accrued. Then once the 15 boxes are accrued, then they have to get them down and bale them. And then I think he was having troubles, like one of the banks still shreds their paper, but the bags are like huge and really heavy, so they put the bags of shredded paper up on top, so he needed help dragging the paper up on top. So he was gonna ask Dan if Dan would come and help him do that, otherwise I think he's doing okay. He's working more than probably the 20 hours, but I told him, I said, it will be there when you get there tomorrow.
Do
They just, pretty much they have to have it cleaned out by recycling
get
Saturday
a
when they
lull-
have a.
Do they get a
large
lull period where there isn't much, and then they get a lot period, like Christmas probably with all the, and Thanksgiving, you think with all that stuff going on, you think there'd be more stuff.
They'll get quite a bit, and then, after the boat races down at the fall festival, they'll get wet cardboard.
Lot of wet
that has to
cardboard.
dry
Yeah.
before they can do anything with it. So, but it does, it has its.
Sure, well, every business does, you know.
He was gonna call the highway department and see if they could maybe send somebody down to help him lift those boxes up. I swear he said up. I really do listen to him. I just have so much on my mind I can't retain as well as I used to, but, I told him that I would go down and help him if he wanted me to, and he said no, he'd figure it out. He talked about maybe asking Don Paul, but I think we just kinda left it that he was gonna call Dan, cause he was pretty sure he would come.
Okay.
We do have to figure out a vehicle for them though,
A tractor,
a truck.
A pickup truck?
He-
Oh,
or
we didn't make a
use,
decision about the emergency management vehicle either.
oh, well, Mr. Spear said it's not worth much, so we should auction it off or whatever, right?
So then I would need permission to take the title to him.
The emergency management vehicle, you know, that, I guess the engine's bad. Yeah, well, if it's bad, it's bad, we gotta fix it, and we're gonna need another one eventually, won't we? Or does the emergency management person need a full-time vehicle?
Well, I think
Could they drive their own vehicle?
I
and
think
pay
they
mileage?
need something. The question is, do they need to take it home? I think was the point Ladonna
Could
was
we
making.
let them, could they furnish their own vehicle and we pay them mileage? Like the post
For what?
office, like post office, I was drove my own.
For what position?
The emergency manager.
Oh,
Have their
well, I
own-
think
have
we need
their
to see
vehicle.
what happens with, cause that might be part of our contract payment.
Like I was mail carrier, rural mail carrier, I have your own
You drove
truck,
your own.
they pay mileage. And then you gotta maintain it.
Do we have anybody doing storm weather now?
We have volunteer storm watchers, they all
Do
report to the same
They call the
entity.
dispatcher for publication of storm warnings? I would presume so,
Normally,
because that's
the,
how they put the emergency signals out.
normally the dispatchers put out the weather alerts that come from the National Weather Service.
But don't the individual volunteer storm watchers report to the, storm, whatever that is
They
called? Weather,
They
the weather-
report in, but I think they don't activate until emergency management tells them to go out. They used to have people that just went out whenever there was a storm.
When it's
just
hot,
went
and
in.
then coordinate with the dispatchers then, or the
Yeah.
sheriff's department.
But
I
the
don't
dispatcher's the one that finally
hear-
sends the message out to everybody,
Yeah.
So we're not gonna miss that
Are you
part.
writing a book there, or what?
I'm just writing to
not really,
the attorney.
we're not, because they're put out the national warning.
What are you saying?
Just, I've asked for, we approved a motion to have the county attorney file for recuperation of rent from Lincoln Park Manor. We'd like you to include a request for a turnover for the provider agreements for Medicaid and Medicare. Our residents are depending on the county to transition this operation to a new operator, and the county would like to be a participating member on the facility license, which we already are, and the provider agreements, which will need to include a new management company. We are continuing a search for a new management firm. In the meantime, we need to calculate the uncollected rents from LPM and request a changeover in the provider agreements. This process allows us to file an amended request through KDADS in the federal branch through Kansas.
Okay.
Okay? Everyone good?
Did you hear it? Yeah, it sounds good, Alexis.
Okay.
If she has questions, have her,
LC
maybe, if she has,
attorney, ATTORNEY.
if she has, wants to talk to us about it, and executives or whatever, we can schedule
Well, at this point,
agenda
right, I
next
mean,
week.
it's,
We're gonna have to
it's
get
just gotta
into,
happen.
we're gonna have to get to the particulars on this stuff.
I mean, that's clear enough.
Well, kind of.
okay, do we have any further public comment? If not, I will adjourn the meeting until the 26th,
Next Monday,
10 a.m.
sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
This isn't Sunday.
Did I hear you adjourn?
Wait, I did.